Hello, hello. Hello, 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 hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. You got
Hello.
you got the whole rig. That's pretty cool.
Happy
That's
New Year,
dope.
guys.
Thanks.
guys
How are
have a
you?
good
Year. I mean, we still got 2 more days of 2023 left, but
Yeah,
Happy New
fucking
Year.
end it. End it all. End this whole
Hey
fucking year.
everyone, Merry Christmas. Belated Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry. How was your guys' Christmas?
It
was pretty good.
Hectic.
I stayed at home.
I got a new 4K monitor.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Ooh, congratulations.
I
I
got
also ate way too many fucking cookies.
I ate a lot of food.
Well,
I
you
need
know
to-
what
I
they
ate food as
say.
well.
Yeah.
My main Christmas
Nope.
present is that my dad's getting me a new phone, so that'll be fun. And then I got some 4Ks. I got Barbie and Oppenheimer in 4K. I got Spider-Verse in
Ooh.
4K, so that's fun.
Yeah,
it was.
so awesome.
I'm just adding 4K stuff to my wish list, and then I'll buy some when their price goes down. Because I know I'm not like for new releases for popular things that I'm not worried about going out of print. I'm just like, well, if I'm not gonna watch it in the next 6 months, then I'll,
I went to the theater.
I already bought Barbie.
Yeah.
I will
I
at
went
some
to the
point.
theater and I saw Color Purple on Christmas Day.
Oh, how
The new
was it?
Spielberg.
It was whatever.
Was it?
It's
It was
really pretty.
Spielbergian
I'm shocked to
Yes,
hear that about
yes,
a Spielberg
yes.
movie.
about a modern
Spielberg
Spielberg
wasn't in
movie.
charge of it. The
Oh
only
God.
reason I went The
James
only reason I
profile
went to
pic.
watch it was scene point has like, hey, if you watch Wonka, Aquaman, and Color Purple, you get 5,000 scene points. I was like,
Oh
okay.
wow, that's actually a terrible deal.
I saw
No.
2 of those. I just got. Oh,
Having these it's a treat.
Oh yeah, what are they larger than normal Reese's? What's the catch?
They're miniatures. They're white and
Oh, what the hell?
yeah.
Say that again.
chocolate.
What?
Say that again. What are they?
They're white and milk chocolate. It's a share bag.
Oh, okay.
I've seen those.
Interesting.
We have like a mixed thing of M&Ms at the store I work at, so that's fun.
Mhm.
Speaking of chocolate, I just got out of like an hour ago, saw Wonka with my mom and brother, and it wasn't as bad as I was expecting, but it wasn't great either.
I just keep every time I hear someone say the title, I think of a British person saying wanker.
You know what?
Wonka.
When I saw Wonka, like, I was watching Wonka. And then, like,
Wonka.
the film itself wasn't
Wonka.
bad. But I just can't shake off the fact, like, Wonka
It
acts
is.
like a sociopath, you know?
It's bad for a day.
Was the music
Yeah.
any decent?
No.
There were some. It was mixed.
didn't
There were
really
one or
like
two. There were 1 or 2 songs I liked, but like the biggest problem is that Timothée Chalamet cannot fucking sing. He really can't.
They just auto-tuned
They had
them
to
or what?
auto-tune.
That sucks.
Really bad. Yeah.
Oh God, there's a
Yeah,
sing in
that
it.
makes me not want to
Yeah,
see
he
it. Well, I
does,
mean, I
multiple
already didn't
times.
want to see it. But...
The editing was very rapid and it's kind of annoyed me.
I kind of like the editing, honestly. I thought that was one of the better parts, but
Oh, yeah?
that's just a me thing. I don't know. Like I thought it worked for what it was going for. I mean,
That's okay.
but
Is
that's a me thing. What?
Is it as cringe as Dear Evan Hansen when he like tries to sing, and all that in the movie?
I haven't seen Dear Evan Hansen, so I can't say. But Timothée Chalamet's singing was fucking terrible. That was probably my least favorite part of the film. Was just
Is
how much-
did Dear Evan Hansen get patched to like Cats? Like, are we allowed to see the original cut? I think they like de-aged him a bit after people.
I think it was more like prosthetics on Dear Evan Hansen.
No, I heard that they like. Maybe I'll look this up.
It was just really
Cats is
really
laughing
boring.
at it.
That was the problem with Dear Evan Hansen. Like,
Where's the butt?
I have a hard
cut?
time paying attention what's going on after 30 minutes. It's just
Yeah, the bubble cut. We need it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Because I think it had it like premiered at like TIFF or something, and I think
It
they might
did.
have like tried to correct it slightly between the festival and theatrical. I think they might have added some like de-aging effects, but I don't remember where I heard that. But
I mean, Rebel Moon is premiered at TIFF. Well, not necessarily.
No, it
Did it?
didn't. No, it didn't.
No, it has a limited release. I tricked you guys. It didn't. But It was
Okay.
shown at TIFF Theater for like a
Oh,
couple
that's not.
days.
Yeah, well,
No one-
TIFF Theater is not TIFF Festival. I don't consider those
No,
even
no.
closely related.
I went to the theater yesterday,
God damn.
and I got to see.
Oh, yeah?
I got to see Poor Things.
That
I
was
also
awesome
saw
movie.
It's
Me
so
too.
fucking good. Oh my
It's
god.
my favorite movie of the year. I saw it like a week ago.
Same.
It's my favorite movie of the
Yeah.
year. For
It's
sure.
it's an
Like,
easy top 3, top 2 maybe.
Definitely a daring performance
wanna
from the
say
same
one
person who
funny
played
thing
Gwen
about it,
Stacy.
though.
I loved
Um,
most of Poor Things. I thought the music was great. I just felt like towards the end, like the
No
pacing
spoilers.
kind of what. Towards the end, the pacing loses me a little bit. That's how I'm gonna
I
say.
did not feel that way.
Interesting.
I was never.
I was
watching
pretty
Poor Things.
yeah, I was pretty entertained throughout.
I loved it.
I
like,
really
all the way
liked the black
through.
and white section, and then like the music was really fucked up. Like
Yeah.
it's like a few notes they keep on like messing up. That was like, damn, that was pretty
It was
awesome.
So
It's
I
literally-
should.
Oh,
Sorry,
I
I
was
should
kind of curious
mention
about the weird
only.
cinematography where they kind of did in The Favorite, but once you get used to it, it kind of gets into the style of the movie.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like it worked better for this movie than The Favorite, because in The Favorite it was like 2 shots that were fisheye lens, and it was like, okay, this is a period piece. What are you doing? Whereas in this movie, it was like a fucking trip. The whole thing was like a weird trip.
it fit
The whole
style
thing was
so
like-
for this,
well.
Okay,
for this
but
movie,
let
they
me
use
just
like a
say-
very specific lens just to make this movie work, which is kind of crazy since you're never going to see this type of, what do you call it, wide angle lens for this.
What I was gonna say, so when I went into the movie, I kind of forgot who Yorgos Lanthimos was
Oh.
because I had only seen The Favorite. I hadn't seen this other stuff.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like, what's that name? I've heard Adam say that name before for sure. And
I'm wearing the
I
same
couldn't
shirt as the other
think
image
of
there.
like what else Yorgos directed. And then I noticed how many fucking fisheye shots were in it. And I'm like, oh, this is the director of The Favorite, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird. Well, like those are like the 2 movies he's done that in. Is like period piece, but with like modern fucking skateboard cameras, or
I also somehow
which is like
didn't recognize Emma Stone.
the Favorite was like it. Yeah, it was kind of jarring seeing it in The Favorite, but in this
I
it was
agree.
like, okay, wow, this is like an actual consistent style. Even like the whole movie, you feels like you're drunk watching it.
I mean, I don't know if I
I
love
felt
Poor
like-
Things, because in Poor Things, I kept thinking that somebody was like spying on them. That's like the implication I kept getting, seeing like a hole.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I can see that. No, it's
Yeah, like I have a
Maybe
feeling, like, 'cause
thematically,
I
I don't
was
know.
watching. I was watching
Mm.
his earlier film. When I say earlier, I mean The Lobster. Like I felt like his movies. I don't know if it because I'm not the only one. I showed it to a couple friends. They say like they like The Favorite more than Lobster and Killing the Sacred Deer because they're like it's getting a little bit more and more accessible to like a general audience. And I felt like Poor Things. Sure, there's a lot of like niche things about it, but like I felt like overall it has like some more accessibility. Everyone is not like almost like
I
a
could-
robot.
Well, yeah, I could see people being uncomfortable by it, but it's easier to follow in terms of like what it's going for and like
You mean, like,
narratively and
everyone being like a
thematically.
robot?
No, I mean like, well, because his other films like The Lobster and like Killing of a Sacred Deer, they're a little bit more difficult for average audience members, not because of how people are talking, I don't think, but just because of like you start to wonder like what the film is going for, and they've got like really kind of atypical pacing, and like
Yeah.
those films are more like, what's the point? I could see a lot of
Mhm.
people saying, especially Killing of a Sacred Deer. I know a lot of people are
Yeah.
not into that.
Yeah, I did a marathon.
Pretty sure
of
Dogtooth is
oh,
more inexplicable than The Lobster and Killing of a Sacred Deer because that one has a lot of stuff that I think pushes the boundaries than those later films.
I mean, it depends on how we define accessibility, because like if we're talking about boundary pushing in terms of like how disturbing something is, then sure. But if we're talking like I would say Dogtooth, Poor Things, and The Favorite are more accessible than Killing of a Sacred Deer.
I know a friend of mine. He loved The
widely,
Favorite, but
I
he
mean.
hated Dogtooth.
There's a
loved
lot
it,
of
but
people that hate Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
I like
I need
Killing
to
of the
see
Sacred
them.
Deer. I had hard time paying attention to Killing of the Sacred Deer when I first watched it, but I still like Killing of the
Ooh.
Sacred Deer. The only Yorgos Lanthimos movie I haven't seen yet is Dogtooth, but I have seen The Lobster, The Favorite, Killing of the Sacred Deer, and Poor Things. And honestly, Poor Things might have been my favorite movie of his. Like, it's just so fucking good. Like,
He's
I like Poor
tied.
Things more than The Favorite, I'd say.
I like The Favorite a little bit more. I think like Poor Things is the somewhat of the least favorite out of the Hollywood, out of the American ones, but I still really like the Poor Things.
he's
I think
got
for me, yeah.
he's got like at least two old. There's two movies he directed before Dogtooth that I didn't see. But I don't know if there's like a
Elf.
good reason to see them. And then there's one movie that he directed between Dogtooth and The Lobster that nobody talks about called Alps, which
Yeah.
I was not
Yep.
wowed by, and it was just kind of like, eh.
I
Well,
saw.
I thought you were talking
part
about
of it.
Canada.
Mhm.
I think that was made before. Yeah, that was made before Dogtooth.
Yeah.
Yeah. The movie, it's kind of strange because I think probably my favorite thing was just how invested in the character, like main character arc I was.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't think it when like Emma Stone's character first appeared, but it gets so interesting, and I always wanted to see what was gonna happen next.
It's like
The
a really
intro-
fucked. It's like a more fucked up Pinocchio,
Yeah,
or
it's
maybe
a morbid
less fucked
Pinocchio,
up,
kinda.
Yeah,
depending
I
on which
really
version
a
of
little bit
Pinocchio.
creepy if you think about
Also
it.
known as Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, I really, in terms of the characters, Olivia, surprisingly, I had a lot of good time with like William Dafoe's character, you know, because
I
like
like Defoe's
out of
character.
He was
yeah,
awesome.
out of all the characters that I felt a lot of the most empathy, I actually felt more was William Dafoe because like without spoiling anything, at first he was like doing something like almost morally what's the right word? Morally like
Indefensible.
Reprehensible.
indefensible. Yeah, it was like very fucked up. And then you
Mhm.
kind of realize, oh wow, he's just like a crazy old kook, you know? Like that's the only world he lives in, but he's still trying to do better. And then
Yeah.
you compare it to like everyone else who's just like very nihilistic, you know, for the sake of being nihilistic. It was
I'm-
just like, you
I'm
know,
trying
he's actually
I'm trying to avoid as many spoilers as we can, just for the sake.
Sorry,
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
trying to,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah,
like
I will-
so much I want to talk about.
I really this
I
is
really
this is
enjoyed
pretty.
the part where Mark Ruffalo shows up and he always steals the show. He's like a goddamn
Yeah,
buffoon
he
every
was.
time he
That was
appears.
probably his
He was
best role.
great. He
I don't
was
know
great.
if
He was so fucking funny.
I have never seen him in a
loved
him. He was
movie
like-
where I've liked his performance more. Honestly.
He was like a pickup artist who got fucked up when he chose her.
The most surprising thing about Poor Things, the one more thing I want to say, was that I looked at who the composer was. This is literally the
Oh, yeah, I
composer's
didn't even
first
look
ever
that up.
film.
Oh really?
It was
Hmm.
yeah, they literally never worked on a film up before this, and which was like
That's
surprising. 'Cause
incredible,
it was, like,
actually.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, Adam, like you know,
Imagine they
music
get
way-
nominated
way
for
better than
score.
me. Yeah, you know music way better than me. Like, would you say a lot of the notes was like intentionally got like screwed over, like to create that?
There's a way to say it.
Sorry, I can't.
But no, I
express
know what
music.
I know what you're talking about. It's so basically what it sounded like to me is that there was a like I guess they were using a harp. And for certain notes, how do I describe this? So like a guitar or like a slide guitar, you could have like a twang, right? Right, where you can move. You have a little bit of flexibility with the note and move it like either a whole tone or a semitone. That is way more common in something like a guitar or slide guitar or other types of string instruments. That's way more common than you'd hear in like a harp kind of sound. So already that is like a very unique kind of new thing to hear. And the way that they
Interesting.
were doing the chords was, it would be like a normal chord you could play on a piano, like boom, 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 and the root note being
Yeah.
like boom, 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 boom. But what they did is they had the root note stay consistent, as in no twang in the root note, but they had the twang. So like start on the wrong note, correct itself, start on the wrong note, correct itself for all of the melodic higher notes. And because the root note doesn't do that, but the higher notes do, your brain knows what chord it's in subconsciously, while also knowing that something is wrong and that it doesn't quite fit it until like a half second later. But because of how it's played, it's still there's still a structure of what it's supposed to sound like. So there is an idea of like, oh, it sounds wrong for like a little second.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. I
Just
really
one
like
last
the
thing,
score a lot.
just one last thing I say about Poor Things. Even though like I didn't completely love it the first time, I'm planning to watch it again this weekend to see
I
like how
want
I
to see the
feel
second time as well. I really
Yeah,
fucking do.
yeah, I do want to
It
see it a
could
second
get better
time.
for me a second time. It could get better for me. I'll say this.
Aethermes, I'll
Maybe
get to you
the
in a
pick-
second, but I just want to keep talking about this for a second. What's funny is I would have seen it twice by now, but my friend who was visiting from out of town just for Christmas, he wanted to catch a movie with me, and I was like, okay, well, I've already bought tickets to Aquaman and Poor Things for after he had left. So like on the 27th, we were hanging out on the 23rd, and I already bought tickets for like the 22nd. And so we looked at the movies. I was like, I don't know, Migration, Wonka. He didn't want to see Wonka, and I was like, okay, well, I could see Migration if only just for like how huge their advertising budget is, and because it's like, I don't know, it looks like a little bit of a step up from Illumination, from like what I could see from the trailers at least. And so I was like, okay, I'm willing to do Migration. And before I bought the tickets, and like we were like at a restaurant, both movies were starting at like around the same time or whatever. I told him like, look, Poor Things is probably going to be a really great movie, so we can watch that one instead if you want, and it's probably something that I'm going to want to see twice anyway. And he was like, nah, let's just do Migration. I'm like, are you sure? and I basically tried to convince him because I wanted to see Poor Things instead of Migration. And he was like, no, the 90 minutes, so blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. And then we watch it and it was shit, but I think he
No
would have much,
shit.
I can guarantee you he would have enjoyed Poor Things a lot more, but it's just kind of funny that, and kind of unsurprising just knowing the friend, like he he did want to see kind of a shit furry movie, I guess. Not quite furry. Aether Muse, what your hand is raised? What's up?
Hey guys, first of all, I just wanted to say sorry. When I picked up my iPad, I was gonna put my feet up to rest in the bed, and then I realized now is not the time to do that. I forgot I was
It's
in a
okay.
Zoom meeting for a second. I also want to shout out an artist that I really like.
Mhm.
His name is Ashes for Days, and he recently did some John Wick fan
Oh
art.
shit, that's pretty good.
Nice.
I'll put his deviant art in my in the link. Also, how are you guys doing? How was your Christmas, Adam and Olivia?
My Christmas was good.
Yeah.
I got 4K monitor as mentioned before, Millie from Hell of a Boss plush from my sister, new coffee mug, and it was
By
just
the
an
way,
all-around
Olivia,
fun
really
time.
love your art. Really love your thumbnail.
Yeah,
Amazing.
there's a lot of Cyberpunk 2077 fan art as well.
I didn't
Amazing.
draw it though, just so you know. It was drawn by a friend of mine named Sunnyfolf, SUNNYFOLF. He is a Ukrainian artist and a really good friend, and I really recommend commissioning him.
Is he still doing well over there?
Yeah, Ashes for Days.
Not exactly.
Um,
Things are rough over there.
Yeah. My Christmas was kind of hectic. But so I did Christmas with my family like early. We went to LA. They wanted to do LA because they were already there, like in their motorhome. So I just flew out to see them, and it was fine. My brother made some good turkey. We did some stuff, but it was just kind of a blur. I don't know, like the usual family get together. But then because we did an early Christmas, and I was back in Atlanta for regular Christmas, that's when my friend LW, his family came back to they live in Atlanta, and so I was invited to their like family Christmas thing and their Christmas Eve thing, and it was a big Italian family, and it was really quite the experience. And there was a lot of food, and there was like 20 pizzas, and they had a wood fire oven. They did lobster mac and cheese, and it was just a constant barrage of like really good food, and they're all like arguing with each other over who cooks food better. They're all doing this. And he has LW is like, yeah, this is my cousin Vinny, and he actually has a cousin Vinny, and I didn't say anything. And there was another Vinny. There were two Vinnies there. It was kind of fun. Yeah, that was hanging out with LW and his family was more of a highlight than my own family thing was.
That's funny.
Not to diss on them, but you know. And then yeah, otherwise I've just fucking
Yeah, for
been
someone
overworked and
who,
stressed.
for someone whose tradition is never Christmas, that Christmas is never an actual holiday. The best thing about Christmas is you go shopping. That's it.
But everything's closed.
Well,
which was
there's
not a problem because we
back
did Christmas
where I
early.
come from,
Yeah.
Back where I'm from,
Yeah.
the shop opens like crazy. Traffic is just like exploding because people are just buying things all day long. That's basically Christmas for us.
The store I work at was fucking busy when around Christmas time, so that was fun to work on. And then also, the day after, you were talking about food. Like the day after Christmas, we had like another family get together, and we ended up getting KFC because they wanted it for some fucking reason. And then I ended up getting like pretty. I did not feel good afterwards.
Thank you for the super chat, Super Smurf Brother, who says, I preferred The Lobster and The Favorite, but the film was a wild ride for sure. Aether Muse, is that all you wanted to say, or did you have one more thing?
Oh shit! Sorry, I was sorry. That was all I want to say for now.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was just checking.
Okay.
That's all good. Jay, what's
So
up?
I know you and Olivia saw these trailers for what's coming up next year, and I was looking at just to see what else is coming up in 2024.
Mhm.
And I'm surprised to hear that, from my understanding, there's like 10 new sequels coming out, especially ones that came out 20 years prior. And then there's 10 returning franchises that are coming in next year. And all I could think of was, am I in the mood to see another of these type of franchise returning or another sequel, unless it's one that came out just this decade, like 2010s? Because I'm already being sick and tired of seeing these, and half of them I haven't seen, like Beverly Hills Cop and Gladiator.
I mean, everybody's hyped for Dune, right?
Oh yeah, I'm excited for Dune, but
Dune at least.
What's the full list? We can judge all these individually. Is it in a
well,
tweet?
it says right now it says there's Gladiator 2,
Mhm.
Bad Boys 4,
Oh.
Deadpool 3, Inside Out 2, Beetlejuice 2, and there's Ghostbusters 4,
Oh yeah.
Kung Fu Panda 4, Beverly Hills Cop 4, and you're not gonna believe this, but there's Paddington 3 and a Despicable Me 4.
Yeah,
Why there's so many fours?
I have no idea.
The year of the fours. That's 4 for 4.
I'll
And
see
also, for some reason,
Paddington
it says
3
Smile 2 is
probably.
in the working.
I don't know how like quickly I'm gonna rush to see it, but I'll see it. I'll probably see Bad Boys 4 because that sounds funny bad. Because the third one was really funny. The third one was really bad and funny to me. Like that was just.
Joker
I
2
mean,
is
it's
next
probably taking
year.
some time if half the stuff is going to be streaming anyways, like Netflix.
Also, like I feel like once you've already seen a whole trilogy, when there's a fourth movie, you're kind of obligated, no matter what it looks like. You're like, well, it's the sunken cost fallacy. Like I've already committed this far.
That's why I saw
I have
Aquaman
to.
2. I saw Aquaman 2 literally because, like, well, I saw the first one, so fuck it, I'll see the second one, and it was really bad.
Yeah, the same for me was Rebel Moon. I already saw the first one. I was like, oh my lord. Okay, I'm gonna see this.
I
Alex
avoided
wants
that.
me to watch that for the next fucking podcast, and I'm like, well,
Yeah,
I guess.
like if you
I
think
guess I will.
Aquaman 2 is bad, you try watch Rebel Moon, and then when it's like, oh my.
Well, it's one of those
Drink.
things where it's like the next episode is just like it's just going to be 2 art house movies, so we have to throw in a Snyder if we want people to click on the episode.
Ooh, what are the 2 art house movies?
Poor Things, and Alex just recommended The Wind That Shakes the Barley.
Huh.
I heard about this.
Is that
It's
I heard
a
about that.
Ken Loach, his other Palme d'Or winner, 2006.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
So
that
we just
shit's the-
recorded the podcast like yesterday, I think.
I think Aquaman was really bad, but it's a little bit funny. But Rebel Moon, it's just, oh, I just like I hate it. It's just like it doesn't. It felt like you're right, Adam. Like Zack Snyder said, like I've been working on that for like 30 years. It does felt like it's like someone's high school project.
I heard it was like a ripoff of
Ugh.
Star Wars. I heard it was like a ripoff of Star Wars or something.
You
Like,
look
that's
at the
Yeah.
fucking poster and the title, and you assume it's like actually Star Wars. Like if I didn't
is.
know it
I think
wasn't
it was
Star
an
Wars,
idea he
like
came
I
out
think
back when he was in college.
I think
so
before
it's
I
been
clicked
like
on
a
the trailer, I
passion
thought it was
project
going to be a
since he
Star
was
Wars
like
thing.
a young adult, I believe.
Have anyone seen Seven Samurai?
A long time
No.
ago.
But has
I
anyone
did.
seen the
Yeah.
Magnificent Seven?
It was okay.
It was basically Seven Samurai. That's it.
There's a bunch of movies that are basically Kurosawa movies.
A Bug's
Yeah.
Life is considered to be Seven Samurai or some shit like that. Like,
Pretty much, yeah.
I showed my
Mm.
friend. I showed my friend that Zack Snyder breakdown and his
Mhm.
concept art, and my friend was like, "Man, this looks like a fan art." I was like, "Yeah, it does." You know.
Olivia, what's
Sorry.
up?
Oh, there was one creative decision in Poor Things I didn't quite comprehend.
Go for it.
I wasn't sure what the pattern was, but the switching between like black and white and color.
Well, I thought it was pretty consistent because it was like color for the first part, like literally the
Mhm.
intro thing, and then black and white just for I guess what they were considering to be a flashback, not from the beginning, but from everything that followed after. Right? So the beginning was like the opening titles and the transitionary titles are like distinctly independent from everything else, I think. And then huge first chunk of the movie is black and white, and then everything after that is like color except for the transitionary titles, I think.
Yeah, there were a couple like colored ones like during the black and white segment at the start.
Mhm.
And I remember when like he flashed, no spoilers, but when he flashes back to the surgery scene, it was in color, I remember, and this was like super early in the film.
Yeah, I'll have to see it a second time, but I don't remember being like annoyed by it.
I wasn't annoyed by it. I was just kind of curious why like it was in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Man, there's some good scenes in that movie.
This is something I drew from my Oddworld webcomic.
Oh, that's dope.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I'm drawing a ref sheet for Abe, Soulstorm Abe. Yeah.
So me and Adam and Meat Boy saw Aquaman 2. That was bad.
Yeah, that was.
Oh boy, I think I may have some contention. Well, just
Was
to
it
be
epic?
fair, I don't think it was.
It was
good.
not
Was it?
epic. That's the
It was
problem.
not good. But
was
like,
He's the perfect
no!
conclusion for the DCEU.
Yeah, you asked me twice.
it was like it was,
I was
really bad.
really-
It was kind of funny for me.
I was
Kind of funny.
You got that question before I could. How dare you?
Grum, what were you gonna say?
I was hoping that the movie was going to be extremely funny bad enough for me
There
to
are
see,
some-
but obviously not enough. Even for a James Wan epic.
It
I'm
was.
very disappointed in James now.
It seemed like it probably had some like rewrites and reshoots, and even beyond that point, like it just seemed like everybody gave up and no one wanted to be there.
Mhm.
Like James Wan his heart wasn't in it. Jason Momoa's heart wasn't in it. Mimosa. Like nobody acting in it, nobody participating in it seemed like they were actually doing anything that they thought would be a worthy piece of art to add to the public consciousness. Like
So
nobody
did Amber
cared.
Heard.
It was
I was even
um,
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
she was bad.
Or like-
She was really
or
bad in
like-
it, and so was the scientist. They were both notably really bad.
Yeah, they are.
He's a
they
bad
are.
character and a bad person as well.
Hmm.
I The
But I
effects were
did
like
like when they,
noticeable.
but there's like a scene with
I
some
mean, at the
prostitutes
end,
that I kind of liked.
at the end of the day, was Amber Heard character even good to begin with? I don't think so.
No, no. I always thought she was like kind of bad. So
Dude, it's a
Really bad.
Snyder era DC movie. Everything has to be bad in a Snyder era DC movie.
I just think it's funny that like they. I was talking the spoilers for the next Sardonicast episode. I was talking with Alex about this, about how like it would have been funnier if, and better, honestly, and more fitting if they ended, because we're right now between the DC universes.
This is the
It would have
final
been
film, I think. For
Sorry?
this is like the final film in the Snyderverse.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like we're
I
done
believe
now.
so, yes.
And it's a really unceremonious ending. It would have been better if they ended with the Flash, with the whole, even like not even just the whole like, oh, time resets explanation, but also just because that was like such a shit movie, and it was like interestingly shit, and it was like worthy of like a big video and like a conversation, right? Um, Aquaman 2, it's funny that they set up the whole, oh, you can still see Aquaman 2 at the end of the Flash. That was like literally the end of the Flash. They had the post-credit scene where it's like, he's actually in both universes. He's in the first universe and he's in the new one, so you can still watch the movie and it'll all connect. But then you watch Aquaman 2, there's nothing in the movie, not even a post credits, that even hints of the James Gunn universe or anything. There's nothing about this that feels like it's consistent or setting things up. It really feels like they just fucking lied. It
Not
honestly just
even-
feels like they lied and then tricked
you know
people
what's-
into buying a
Yeah.
ticket,
Yeah.
and they had no intentions of connecting this in any way whatsoever. And that also
Not
makes it
even
kind of like way more unceremonious of just like, oh, there's not only do you not connect this to the James Gunn universe, but you also didn't give a proper ending. You could have had a post credits
Yeah.
sequence of like some sort of like, that's all, folks. Like I don't know, like give people who bought the tickets, who supported this disastrous fucking cinematic universe, like your 10 fans, give them something for supporting you. Nope.
Man.
Sorry, Grim. I just want to cut you off, say something real quick. I think the reason why I kind of enjoyed it is that it almost felt like an asylum film in a way. Just like you see like $200 million being poured into it, but the special effects look worse than Godzilla -1. Well, I want to talk to it later, but I talked too much. I'll reserve it for later during this discussion. But it looks worse than Godzilla -1, which is like $15 million, and it's just like, that's kind of funny, you know, just like, wow, like they made this, you know, and then like and then like clearly no one cared, you know, like it's like Patrick Wilson, like, you know, when there's one scene he had a really funny facial expression. It's like, okay, it's like, you're not even trying, and that's kind of funny, you know. I hope I'm
No
not
one was
spoiling.
trying. No one was trying.
It seems like DCEU and Warner Bros. Is a joke at this point, especially that
Yeah.
not only have they pumped so much money, but even with like say Justice League, the Joss Whedon one, I mean, costing $300 million, it is such a
300.
joke that it still looks like a TV show.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why it's kind of funny for me. Maybe
Well, here's
it's
the
not
thing.
funny for
Well,
everyone
here's the
else,
reason
but-
why VFX look like shit nowadays in big budget movies. It's the fact that they have to keep like reshooting various scenes and and they don't have enough time to pre-plan what they're doing. You can see that, like, look at Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy versus Peter Jackson's The Hobbit trilogy. Like, he had a bunch of pre-planning for Lord of the Rings, whereas The Hobbit, he didn't have that much, and the effects look way worse in The Hobbit than they do in Lord of the Rings, because they just don't have enough time to pre-plan this kind of stuff. Whereas I think with Godzilla -1, they actually had time to pre-plan a bunch of stuff. Whereas you can see in Aquaman 2, they had no time to pre-plan any of this shit, or really any Marvel or DC film nowadays, maybe except for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But yeah, that's my theory. Is like they just don't have enough time to pre-plan, and they have to overwork their VFX artists in all these movies and shit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of a shit job with the VFX artists, especially that it's not their problem. It's usually the studio or the executives giving them the problems.
It's all about rushing It's always about rushing to meet a schedule.
I
or
always think about how,
deadline.
like, Adam, your least favorite movie is Lion King 2019, and it's perfectly fine to say that, and I agree with you. But you can't really blame, like, the visual effects artists who worked on the film. I blame, like, Jon Favreau or the executives.
I
who worked
never
on the
do.
film.
I never do. You know, it's funny. Like when people got fucking every time I say something about animation, there's always people on Twitter that go like, "These poor animators worked hard." And you're saying that they're bad. I'm like, no, if you've watched any of my content, like I've never blamed the animators. I like
Exactly.
bad animation is a result of like them not having enough money. Like I've only ever defended animators. I've only ever said like, hey, stop treating them like shit, pay them more, give them more time to work on their projects, and it'll look better and it'll be a better movie.
And also,
Right?
The thing
But
is,
every time I
yeah,
say
you
that
gotta
the
mention it
every
in your
time I say that the
podcast.
animation looks like shit, and it turns into a huge Twitter thing, people take it as like he hates animators. He's insulting the animators as if whoever did the cheese pull on Garfield was like super proud of their work and not rushed. And thinks
Also,
that like
there's
whoever
another-
animated that thinks that was like, oh, perfect. That
people
was
who
exactly
whine
what
about
they
you on
wanted
Twitter-
out of the scene. Is that's what happened.
I don't.
People who
I
whine
think
about
they
you on
have
Twitter,
money,
like
it's
they
just
don't watch your stuff. That's
Yeah,
the problem.
no, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
At
I
this
saw
point,
Also,
I
I
feel like
think
they're
they
following the
have
pattern of
respected Twitter
Sniper Wolf
account
or
saying that
if
like
Sniper
you
Wolf could
never
do that,
recommend
I might as well
good
do that
movies,
just so I
and
can
it's
add
like, what
some
do they think the
hatred
top
towards this
10 list is
person.
for?
Yeah. Also,
they don't
like
watch
I
that.
think, like just to follow up Adam's point, like sometimes you do. Sometimes people will say like, "Ooh, you say they don't have money, but they have $200 million." But no, like they just sometimes like there's a lot of mismanagement of funds, and they would they would pay money to do the same job over and over again. So like in the end, the funds is like stringent down. I watched that Life After Pi movie like a couple years ago, and then they kind of explained like why money were waste. It's basically burning money, and eventually, they don't have money anymore. Am I correct in saying that, Adam?
Sorry, I was looking up something else. I'm sorry. I reacted to.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was trying to
It's
prove a
alright, don't worry
theory and
about it.
remember a name. What were you saying? I'm
Yeah, sorry. I was saying like there's some people. You said like they don't have enough money, but some people would say like, well, they have $200 million. I was like, no, not necessarily, because like sometimes producers they would do the same. They would repeat VFX artists repeat the same job over and over again for no reason because they don't understand, what a prefix is.
Yeah,
And-
every single time you hear about a story, it's always like they're underpaid and overworked.
Yeah. I worked on some short films. I have producers who doesn't understand the basics. And then like I told them, hey, this doesn't work. And they say like, no, you need to listen to instructions. And I was like, okay. And then like the product didn't come out well. He just ended up like blaming us. I won't name names, but like there's some like, small project I work with.
Mm-hmm.
It was like kind of frustrating. I can see in the studio setting it can even get worse,
Was it for a college project?
Some college projects, some like independent small projects I worked on,
Did you
I
at least
have
pass or at least got like a higher grade for it?
no, because the producer was like bad mouthing me.
Mm.
Well, I
Yeah,
did think,
I have
like,
a lot of those where like they just threw me under a bus. It's very unfortunate.
Well, there's also the whole thing in Hollywood about like I call it learning the wrong lessons from the successes and the failures, which is basically like Barbie was like the most successful movie of this year. We're absolutely they're not going to learn the lesson of like, oh, give female directors more creative control. They're going to look at it and be like, oh hell yeah, more toy movies and multiple Barbie sequels. That's what they're going to learn from that.
I
And
think
then
they put. Sorry, Jay. Sorry, not Jay.
BC, me.
Yeah, sorry, BC. I think that they would they could take the lessons of like, hey, we're gonna hire female directors, and that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah,
I
I'd be
felt
okay
like,
with that.
yeah, but I felt like the danger is they would hire inexperienced directors, from like female or male directors, and then like set them up to fail when the producer was like calling the shots. You
Yeah, it's
know,
kind of happened before. Like, say they got some random director who did Kong Skull Island, and it's the same thing what happened with like when Marvel hired this random female director who did Black Widow, even though she never did such big films like this before.
she made Lore, but like that's a completely different movie from Black Widow. And I felt really bad for these, even Chloe Zhao to an extent. It's like she wasn't meant to make these kind of like Eternals.
She took
you
it.
know?
She took
Yeah,
the
she-
job.
But it takes a lot.
She took the job like after winning an Oscar, right?
Yeah.
At least she's got a follow afterwards, but still, must
She
have been
had the
feels-
choice to do whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then, sorry.
Yeah, my bad. I'm
Excuse me.
talking too much.
Yeah,
My
and then I
apologies.
think honestly, one of the a wrong lesson that I could just see a mile ahead. So next year, when it comes to animation movies in theaters, they're all sequels: Inside Out 2, Kung Fu Panda 4, Despicable Me 4, etc. I think
watch Kung Fu
honestly,
Panda.
a thing that I think I noticed is that this year the most successful animated movies were like Spider-Verse and Mario. What I think what we're gonna see is that they're gonna look at the failures of like Disney's Wish or Elemental did okay, and other films like Migration's doing pretty terribly in box office. They're gonna look at that and be like, no
It's
more
crazy
original
because it's an
animated.
Illumination product.
Yeah.
When you think about it,
Mario
they put a
movies.
lot of effort on Super Mario, but not Migration, which is definitely an original IP.
Yeah,
Sorry,
but-
what? They
but-
put a lot of money into Super Mario, but
No, not Migration. They put a lot of money, or at least the marketing on Super Mario Brothers.
they did
Not
they've done
Migration.
a lot of marketing for Migration though. In
When I was in the
LA, it was
theater-
crazy. They like
They had
transformed
a-
like an
Also,
entire
Jersey
like.
Mike's, but I'm not sure if there's anything else other than just Jersey Mike's because it's kind of bobbing
I would
right
assume
now.
that the marketing budget for Migration is pretty big based on
Yeah,
what
but
I
just-
saw in
so-
LA.
But what I was getting back to is the fact that like I think the executives like Disney and shit are gonna look at like the failures of Wish and Migration and I guess Elemental, although that did okay, I guess. They're gonna look at that and be like, no more original animated movies in theaters. That's the goal. Because think about it, like in the 2000s, Treasure Planet bombed, and that led to them like, and also I guess some other films I can't name of. They let in like the 2000s, there were a bunch of 2D anime movies that bombed, and they immediately like hard pivot to 3D animation. We're gonna see the same thing, but instead of like, it's just gonna be sequels from now on. Like, if you really think about it.
I was
Mhm.
thinking more like because of the success of the bad guys in Last Wish, where it's basically $100 million but less. I'm probably gonna say that maybe we're gonna get anime movies where they cost less to make than Wish.
I
That
mean,
costs like
that's
$200
also
million
true.
to make.
That's you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. I think that we're going to see that though. But like, I also think that we're going to see less original stuff in theaters. Like, wasn't it like the CEO of Paramount being like, we're just not going to release an animated original movie in theaters. It's going to be property movies from now on." Like, which is like really lame, unfortunately.
In a way,
Well,
we
yeah, they
kinda
kind of
have
did that with Under the Boardwalk, which got straight to VOD for the Paramount, which kind of sucks because nobody's ever talked about it other than me.
Yeah, I was saying, in a way, we kind of have to blame Treasure Planet for all those, like, for all that.
Mhm.
Because they didn't do
you-
well.
Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
Aether Muse, you have your hand
Blame
up.
David
What?
Salvas,
Yes, I-
blame Warner Brothers, blame
Sorry,
Bob
I was-
Iger to some
Mhm.
extent.
Sorry, what's up, Aether Muse?
I've seen my ref sheet with work in progress, and I left
Oh,
a
sure.
little note in there for you. I left a little note in there for when you'd see it.
Oh, is it one of the links? Yeah, hold on.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
hold on.
Scott Abe.
Okay.
I drew that Shriko silhouette as well behind him. Yeah. And I left a note saying, "I know I haven't drawn his legs yet, Adam. Don't bully me for being legist."
Oh, okay. It's underneath. That's funny. I was looking in the text in the image. I was like, what the? Which one of these are for me? Is it?
I have
That's
to note
great.
the description. Oh, thank you. This is just showing you it anyway.
Of course.
Because
Thank you.
you're an Oddworld fan like I am.
Good job. Good job.
So, what are everybody's thoughts on Warner Brothers Discovery planning to buy Paramount Global?
Fucking do
I
it.
think that's barely
Hell World.
happening because
Hell
it's
World.
got-
Paramount sucks.
Yeah.
Great.
They couldn't even sell a Halo.
Here's
yet
the
they're doing
thing.
a season 2.
So,
Yeah, that's
what
true.
I'm confused about, like, so I don't know how. I'm not a corporate man. I'm just wondering about the whole merger situation that started with Warner and Discovery merging. Well, I'm maybe not started, but that's when things got really bad. Was essentially my understanding is that there was a Warner Brothers CEO, and then because of the merger, Discovery CEO became in power. Like there was
The entire you're right about that. The entire reason that merger happened is because AT&T literally like was losing money on Warner Bros. So it was like we got to get rid of Warner Bros. In some capacity.
Warner Brothers got sold to Discovery then.
Yeah.
So Discovery bought Warner Brothers. Okay, that's lame. I would have assumed that Warner Media was a bigger company than Discovery, but
they lost money from the that 2021 they released all their films like Dune and The Suicide Squad and Space Jam 2 on HBO Max and theaters. They lost money on that, and they lost so much that they decided that AT&T decided just to sell Warner Bros. To Discovery for
that's crazy.
Which is like that's the entire reason why we're in this mess in the first place.
Blame COVID.
I'd like to mention that if
blame
Warner Brothers
Christopher
and Paramount
Nolan.
signed a deal, if Warner Brothers and Paramount basically signed a deal,
Chris.
that would mean they would have got Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon together, which would have been a crazy thing if they ever done with these two.
Yeah. So what? They're trying to buy Paramount?
Well, not anymore. Last time I checked.
They were in talks, but they're not. They didn't officially announce they're going to buy it. They just were in talks of it. It could always fall through. Keep in mind, there was a rumor of like Apple wanting to buy A24, but that fell through pretty quickly.
What I would like is for some other company to buy Warner Discovery.
They have some A24 films in the Apple TV catalog. Like, I'm not going to names, but let's just say they have 5 right now that's under A24's banner.
Who does?
Yeah, well, they're in a partnership, but I think A24 grew in value after Everything Ever All at Once did well.
I want another company to buy Warner Discovery. So I want a merger so that David Zaslav or whatever his name is not making decisions anymore. That's what I want.
Same.
Right? He seems to be the reason why the merger was bad. Like the merger could have just been a merger and then like, oh, they own more things. It could have just been like that. But no, he had to be like, well, let's cancel a lot of projects and not care about any
Some
art
of them are
at
completely
all
either
whatsoever.
somewhat shelved somewhere in his basement, or at
Disney
least...
did the same thing recently. Disney did the same thing recently with the Spiderwick Chronicles series. They literally sold it off. Well, they sold it off to another company, thankfully. But
so
I don't know. Disney there was like a movie on Disney Plus that like was only on for like a month, and it was like only exclusive to that platform, but you can't watch it anymore.
So the reason why I burst out laughing and I was distracted earlier is because I had like a theory in my mind that I wanted to test, and I kind of already knew the answer of like these types of like media channels that pretend to talk about movies but are just doing anti-woke things. So like you type in The Quartering into YouTube, The Quartering Kathleen Kennedy, and you find a bunch of results, right? You find like holy shit, thumbnail, title, shit ton of results. You type in The Quartering David Zaslav, or however you pronounce it or spell his name. How do I spell it?
Zaslav. There you go.
Yeah.
Zaslav, and there's fucking nothing. And I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like they're destroying media also. Like pretty undebatably, like if you care about like film and media and art in any way. And it's not even like, oh, he's destroying art house films. It's like, I don't know, like Batgirl that's a Coyote versus Acme. Like these are all newsworthy and noteworthy things, but the problem is there's no woke angle to go with, so it's just like, oh, it's not worth talking about.
If Warner Bros. Discovery was a woman CEO doing this shit, then
he would talk about it.
So that's not the reason why I started laughing, is because I went even further and I typed in.
He's also a literal Nazi.
I typed in RK Outpost Kathleen Kennedy.
No.
Not that, dude.
Right?
Jesus
I typed in
Christ.
RK Outpost Kathleen Kennedy, and I was like, okay, I see a lot of the same stuff. I see a lot of Kathleen Kennedy.
It really
is. See her in the title. I see a lot of large impact font on the side and the thumbnails. And I was like, okay, so I'm going to type in RK Outpost David Zaslav, and I assumed it would just be like The Quartering where nothing showed up. But instead it's David Zaslav attacked by woke mob after Warner Brothers cancellations. Batgirl actor demands release. and
on,
there's a
bro.
thumbnail of like David
Oh.
Zaslav in sunglasses smiling and going like, "Hey," and then the
Why
triggered Hillary Clinton election loser going, "No," and it's like that was what was funny to me. It was like, oh wow, you're not talking about it. You're just having an insane opinion on it.
There's one video.
Yeah,
that
so
he's
you
just-
found
there's
the way to
literally-
spin it into a woke thing, and now you have David Zaslav as the Chad, and all the triggered people that want the movie to be released are just like, oh, you just want it to be released because there's a girl in the movie, and not because it was a movie that people worked on, not because it was like someone's art in any way and someone's project. But because like there's a girl in it or something, so that was why I started laughing, is because that's very
There's
funny
a
to me.
video that RKR
There's two of these, by the
posted
way. There's two of
where,
them. It says they can't stand him in the side. Sorry, go
I
on.
think there's one video that I didn't even watch, but looking at the title is like, Wish underperforms in box office. Woke animators behind the film to blame.
The
he's
animators
always
were
gonna-
woke?
Apparently, they weren't met with an agenda according to him, and that's why the movie's
fun.
failing, because they made sure the movie failed. It's
Okay, I'm seeing right now from
really,
Arcade
really
Post
wrong.
about Wish. It says woke media busted lying about Wish box office disaster.
yeah.
I searched the word wish on his channel. There's like fucking 30 videos. Like, how do you tell?
That's more than like every video talking about Wish combined.
That's crazy. Damn,
Nobody
that's
saw
a
Wish,
lot.
so,
How do you
like-
do? How do you? I just don't understand. It's so crazy.
When I saw Poor
He's such a
Things,
funny
like
character.
right next to me, they were playing Wish, like in the theater right next to me. When I saw Poor Things, it was completely fucking empty, and it was like and they played. There was like in the middle of a song, and it was like auto-tuned to shit, and I was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't see this in theaters.
Oh god.
Sadly, I got to see this in theaters, and it was an early screening. And the saddest thing is that during the beginning of I don't know, before the movie start, there was a staff who was basically handing out these giveaways, and there was a lot of children during the early screening, which was definitely a good thing for them. But I also feel sad just because they're gonna watch something that's kind of mediocre and it's gonna be bombed later on.
I'm just like, okay, I'm just wondering how you make the same video about the same thing 30 times in like a week. So I'm like just scrolling down his channel right now. Aquaman
Terminally
2 box
online.
office flop gets worse. Aquaman 2 crashes and burns at box office. Woke media destroyed for defending the Marvels flop after, and then Aquaman's in the thumb. After Aquaman failure. And so I like, oh wait, here's another one. Aquaman 2 is a pathetic box office failure. And then 2 more videos down. Aquaman 2 box office already a flop for Warner Brothers. 3 videos after that, Aquaman 2 gets destroyed in
wait, I have
first
something I have to
reviews.
show you guys. Hold on.
5 videos
I'm
after
seeing some-
that, Aquaman 2 set for box office disaster. 5 videos after that, Warner Brothers gives up on Aquaman 2 disaster. 5 videos after that, Aquaman 2 is already flopping at the box office.
This is so
So like
funny.
we like
Jesus
our channel
Christ.
like I remember getting like demonetized for like reused content at one point.
Oh, I'll never forget that
Right?
shit.
Ugh.
Like what the fuck? You're just recycling the same old content. This is just you're making the same video 10 times in like a month.
What was the-
How do people watch
But
that?
I
don't
can't
understand.
post 8 seconds from a
watches that?
fucking movie, I guess.
Who watches that?
Yeah. What was the reason they claimed
No
your,
reason, no reason.
Exorcist review?
Oh, The
They
Exorcist?
said it was Oh.
That was a copyright
Exorcist.
claim.
Oh god.
Wonder if RKO is gonna subscribe for Daily Wire Plus.
What was the reason for the copyright?
Getting flagged as having footage from the movie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And so I filed a I escalated to an appeal on the public video. So they ignored that,
never
and
mind.
because they ignored that, 7 days later it's back up. But because I didn't file an appeal on the members only video and I did a dispute instead, they rejected the dispute, and now it's in an appeal. It's like, okay, well, you didn't do anything about the appeal. Why are you rejecting the dispute on the same video? Essentially,
like-
that's you assholes. They're just assholes. They know what they're doing.
Yeah. Literally like pick a lane, cunt, and stick with it.
Demonetized.
Damn.
Yeah, it's done.
Demonetized for being Australian.
Yeah, that's how it works. Racists.
Just like how Twitch banned Tora for being Australian.
That's what I
Also
heard.
racist. Twitch,
Yes,
do
racist
better.
against tigers.
Do
They're
better, Twitch.
They're a pro birdie company.
Birdie.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
film.
we never got that fucking bullshit fixed with. Oh.
With that counter notification?
Yeah, I guess the strike expired, but
I
it's
still
claimed.
want to fight it. So
yeah, I don't know what the.
I'm waiting for a response back from my fucking partner manager, who the previous email makes me seem like I'm not gonna have a partner manager anymore, and I don't know why. And so I'm gonna rant about this later if it goes through. But
I don't understand why they just reject the counter notifications. Like,
that doesn't make any sense.
why?
We filled it out a billion times. Can you remind me, did I send another counter notification after I realized it was like the song and one specifically tailored to that, or have I still not done that? Because I could try that too. I could try to type something up specifically.
Oh, I think we did try
tailored to the
something
song.
for the song.
I don't know. I'll figure it out. I gotta use the bathroom. I'll be back in a bit. Burb.
So what other stuff has David Zaslav done? Like, is it worth saying fuck David Zaslav, or is that too harsh?
No,
I
fuck
think
David
he's-
Zaslav.
I think they've already cancelled like 3 movies under his reign, so yeah, fuck him.
He's a sack of shit. Like, there's nothing good about him. He's just greedy and doesn't give a fuck about art.
So
He
he's
intentionally
Yeah.
canceled some films that, even though it was mostly driven by a bunch of people who took their ass off of these movies anyway, like Coyote vs. Acme.
Also, I
Especially
just
that
He's
we're
just a
doing a lot of.
corporate parasite. That's all he is.
Yeah. Also, I just don't understand how that financially benefiting him. You know, because like
Tax write-off.
Tax
Yeah,
write-off.
but that's like very short term, right? Because like you're just not only you're damaging your reputation, but also like you could have a chance of like just like getting some money back. There is like a devoted audience for these like
How do you spell
films.
Yeah.
Some people like to just dive headfirst and smash shit up and then leave.
Sorry, how do you spell Zaslav? How do you spell
It's Z.
Zaslav?
I'm looking up and it's Zalsav.
Got it, thank you. So making a meme right now. Fuck. Wait,
Yeah, there's a
hold on.
lot of social media feeds on like a bunch of crew members showcasing
yeah.
what the movie was going to be and basically trying
I
to
swear,
get the movie back
at
up.
some- at some point, Zaslav is gonna be fired and replaced
I
with another
wish.
CEO who will probably be as bad as him, if not worse, but still really bad.
That happened with like Disney, I think. Like Bob Chapek was in charge of Disney for like 2020 to 2022, but he did such a terrible job that they brought back Bob Iger, but he fucking
Yeah.
sucks as well.
He's just as terrible. So they're stuck with no alternative other than to just.
Well,
do
here's the
the same
thing.
thing as each other
Like, well,
and
here's
just
the
watch
thing.
the
Like,
company
there's
burn.
literally no such thing as like a good CEO. Honestly, like there's really is no like at least in like the big corporate sense. Maybe in like I don't know A24 people in charge.
I wouldn't go
right,
so
but-
far as to say there's no good CEO other than a lot of them kind of live in their own bubble and then they become so big that the decisions they make is like so. You remember how the expression like the broader,
seems
the
alright.
bigger you are, like the more out of touch you are, kind of that kind of a deal. Because like especially with Warner Bros. And Disney, they got so huge, like they have such a big reputation internationally that the sphere they're living in is just not attainable to like average people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised
Yeah.
that David Zaslav should have taken like the Jason Blum approach, where maybe he should probably lower his budget. But then again, most of his movies tend to be cheap and kind of bad, anyways. Even though they get their monies back.
Yeah, but I always feel like Jason Blum, when he's doing that, he knows what he's doing, and that's why his movies are successful. is he
Yeah.
doesn't really
Maybe-
make any.
Well,
of
here's
these
the thing. Well, here's
batshit
what
decisions.
I think what we're gonna see, like we saw Godzilla -1 be successful, and that was a $15 million budget, and that has way better of VFX than like I don't know Aquaman 2 or some shit. So I think we're gonna see
Yeah.
more and more movies that are gonna be like lower. Actually, one movie it wasn't a
But
good movie, but there was one movie I want to give a shout out to that was like a Disney one. The creator was like $80 million, and that had
that-
Oh yeah,
that
that
was
one.
kind of a boring movie, but
it was boring, but had great VFX, and that was like $80 million. I'm thinking of like maybe do something like that where you don't have to spend that much money on the visual effects.
but the thing is, like,
It's kind of happened
DC,
before
like
with Cocaine Bear,
the
which cost like
creator didn't
$45
make
million
money.
and they made $200 million in the box office. At least
The
they're gonna.
creator didn't make money, and Godzilla -1 is a foreign film. It's like it's by Toho, and Toho has their own completely different management system. That's like very different from Hollywood. For Hollywood to change, you have to like fundamentally reshape the business structure, which like it will take time.
I mean,
Also, Toho has a bit of a legacy with a very renowned, IP or IPs, and because of that, they kind of like, and the legacy of like, putting a bit of effort in their movies, like obviously proof with like Godzilla -1 that kind of, makes their money back.
Toho make their own dubs as well, and then like you have to keep in mind, like there was an era where Toho wasn't doing well. I know, well, similar Daiei has like, there's a lot of like the Japanese studios, they have their own problems. Like the most noticeably, there's a lot of like money laundering conspiracy going around. There is like mismanagement of funds in that studio as well. So like just a heads up, like not every studio has their own problems.
Yeah.
Even
So,
A24 has problems, but they're probably a lot better than most.
I would that I need to look into, but like but what I'm saying is like be a little bit when we jump onto like I'm not defending the Hollywood studio, by the way. Like they made like I mostly don't even watch their movies anymore. But like I just think like there may be some kind of a nuance. There's a lot of behind the scenes that we don't know the story of. So like ask them to change things. We have to be careful.
And also like
sorry.
I was gonna say, I think even A24 had a few of their problems. Like, didn't they do The Idol? For example,
yeah, they did that. They did
Yeah,
The Idol.
That's not a
that
good
show. That show has a pretty bad production history in terms of like its directors and The Weeknd getting involved.
I think maybe this is me having conspiracy theory in my head, but like I felt like they were like, "Hey, we made those art films. Well, let's make something that we can make money, and what can make money, we can." I felt like that's them trying to make some money, which like if they did, good for them. But the show was, oh boy.
It makes me think, like, I think there was a while ago, there was like A24 wants to make more commercial films, but I realized like there were 3 movies they announced, I think, was it last month or earlier this month? There's a new Benny Safdie movie starring The Rock. There's the Death Stranding adaptation. We'll see how that is. And then there's the Elon Musk biopic by Darren Aronofsky. All A24 projects happening.
Oh, the Elon Musk one I'm looking forward to.
Johnson one I'm kind of curious about because what exactly is Dwayne Johnson going to show his range in a smaller
He's supposed to play a boxer. It's a boxing movie. It's supposed to be a boxing movie.
Yeah, I saw, but I'm not sure if it's going to showcase his dramatic range, even though we've seen other boxing films like Iron Claw this year, and I'm not sure if Dwayne Johnson has the range to even do this type of project like this.
Good movies, it doesn't need the actor to be talented, right? Like Arnold was the Terminator. He's just a robot, done. But like people still love that movie, Arnold doesn't have any range. He tried that recently, and it just doesn't really pan out that well. But like,
wasn't he in a movie called Maggie, and he tried to do like a dramatic role for that?
Some people really liked it, but like,
never saw it.
I never saw it either. I just know that he did a dramatic role.
I always think about whenever I think of Arnold Schwarzenegger, have you guys ever seen Batman and Robin? He plays Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
The thing there was actually a thing. There was like a thing going over the production history of Batman and Robin, and apparently the suit he wears in that film was so uncomfortable that apparently like blue liquid started squirting out of his mouth, and he said, "What the fuck? This tastes like shit!" And literally,
My eyes, the goggles do nothing.
This one's better, actually. Sorry.
I heard like I heard like most of the time like Chris O'Donnell
Hello.
doesn't even meet Arnold that much. Instead, he said like all the time he's just like meeting up with his Arnold's stunt double. And then
yeah,
he's
most
like,
of the shots where was like Arnold's stunt double, whereas like the shots where he had to speak was the shots he was in. But literally, he said that like the suit was so uncomfortable that like it had to take and he had to like it took like 4 hours
What
to get
suit?
the makeup on. We were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger and how in Batman and Robin, the Mr. Freeze suit he was in, it took like 4 hours, and apparently like liquid started leaking out of his mouth during certain scenes. And he, at one point said, "What the fuck? This tastes like shit." And
That's funny.
Rap.
Yeah,
Adam, have you seen Batman and Robin?
No. I would
Wow.
like to
Yeah.
at some
Yeah,
point.
it
That
was,
is literally
Are you
a
sure?
radioactive man.
I'm
my
sure I
eyes
haven't
and
seen it.
goggles do nothing moment.
Yeah,
They also
it
talked
was
about
like
a bunch of upcoming A24 films, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, Adam, but apparently there's this upcoming A24 film that's going to star Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Yeah, who's directing that one again?
Benny Safdie.
It's from Benny
Yeah,
Safdie.
that's
I
what
think
I thought.
Benny
I
Safdie
don't know
and
what
Josh
the hell's
Safdie are doing
going
their
on
own
with
thing
that.
now
Hello.
because I guess they found more success now that they're doing their own thing, I guess.
At this
Hello,
point, I
how's it
really
going?
don't like Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I really think he's like just annoying. He's in every fucking movie.
And also, he has a contract saying that he can't lose a fight in any movie that he's in.
Yeah,
He's
that's fine.
That's like a Jason
He
Segel
seems like someone with a
moment.
big ego.
God damn it.
Speaking of Paramount, by the way, I changed my profile picture to something more fitting for the Paramount thing. Yeah,
It's like-
I edited a sketch I did of Abe, and I just made it a meme for this Hangout.
I need to make that larger. Hold on. Oh wow, that's great. Thanks.
You, yeah.
Wee.
Long time no see, Adam.
Yes, same. How are you doing?
I can't
Good.
get the cap off.
How's life on your end, mate? How's the wrist?
Well, I don't know, because it's not. I still have to. It's still in a situation where, like, depending on what I'm doing, it doesn't. I still am hurting myself. So, I've tried to. Anytime I'm typing, I wear this now,
I've
which
noticed.
helps, I think, or from what I can tell. But then it's like I don't know if eventually I'm just gonna start feeling it in the like index finger, sorry, the middle finger tendon or not. I don't know.
Do you ever end up getting the cortisone shots at all, or?
No, my mom keeps telling me that they're not gonna work because she had it. So
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
yeah.
That absolutely does suck.
Yeah. Yeah, I just haven't. Yeah, I've been generally stressed and overworked and not sleeping well.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry to hear, dude.
That's all good.
I'm
Sorry
sure.
to hear that, man. I hope you feel better, man.
Thank you.
I know the feel, brother. Absolutely know the feel.
Yeah,
My
I need
sleep
to.
is scattered.
Have you ever considered investing on like a massage gun?
I don't know if that'll help.
I think
Yeah,
they
I
have
don't
a
know.
more softer top head if you were to do this on your take care of your arthritis.
Oh yeah, I don't think that's gonna work.
There's also melatonin, but try not to do too much of that.
I already
if
take
you-
sleeping pills.
Yeah.
I just I'll wake up early now. I'm just stressed.
Yeah. That seems to be the way to go.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on my plate, and just everything is annoying. And there's like 3 people that like owe me a lot of money, and
Mm.
and I'm kind of just like waiting.
Get the baseball bat ready. You're gonna
no.
break some legs.
Yeah, get ready like the car in the GTA 6 trailer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Your boyfriend's a good support network, though, right? He loves you a lot. You love him a lot. It goes well?
I mean, it's hit or miss.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'll stop asking. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have asked.
Okay.
it's okay.
Yeah.
And I assume you still like the movies that your boyfriend chooses for whenever you do a watch along.
Yeah, it's fun to do those.
We did Hoodwink for one of those watch alongs because Cat BF wanted to see it, and that was my wish finally coming true earlier this year.
It's definitely got an interesting sort of like catalog, like, having like Hoodwinked being one of those examples, and it's like, wow, that was a trip to memory lane, but it's definitely wasn't as good as I remembered.
It's better than I remember, if you ask me.
I love it ironically. It's one of those movies that I meme a fuck ton, so Hoodwink's like my favorite kind of like meme movie. It's short and it doesn't linger, and it's just fun to make fun of, honestly, in my opinion.
It is.
Can you name a quote from Hoodwink?
I watched it in my childhood a lot. I was a kid when I used to watch it.
I had the DVD.
Did you guys see its sequel?
I did. I saw it.
Really bad.
I saw it in theaters, regrettably, and it was.
I forgot there was one. I didn't watch it.
It's way worse because my biggest thing is that the first film has that non-linear structure of like it being like, oh, police interviews. The second film, they just completely get rid of that, and it's like the most straightforward structure, and somehow the animation is somehow a lot worse than this Hoodwink 2. Yeah, somehow
I think it had a bit of a history. Like, I think they didn't expect the first one to do so well. And
the director of the director of the first film didn't even like the director of the second Hoodwink didn't even like the first Hoodwink that much, so he just did it because he needed a job, I think. And there's also the fact that like it was completed in 2009, but because of some weird thing with like the Weinstein Company and Burger King, they had to delay it until 2011.
Right.
That makes sense.
Man, why aren't people talking about Weinstein doing the same thing with Zappos, where they usually kind of fucked up the movie? Like, I heard the story about how Guillermo del Toro's Mimic was kind of completely butchered because of the way Harvey Weinstein kind of just messed around with his film.
Mimic would have been a way better film than it is right now if Weinstein didn't exactly tamper with him and try to get Del Toro fired. Like, he literally tried to get Del Toro fired, and the actress Mira Sorvino had to tell her then boyfriend at the time, Quentin Tarantino, to basically tell Weinstein to back off, in which he did. And then Weinstein was like, you better, you could still direct the film, but we basically have like the final chord, and they basically did the final edit without Del Toro getting involved, which included second unit director stuff, in which Del Toro for a long time until 2011 just basically disowned the film until he did his director's cut, which apparently he is pretty happy with his cut. He got rid of the second unit like jump scare stuff.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, he also I think he wanted to cut down Princess Mononoke. Did you guys hear that story?
Yeah, I know
really?
that. But then
I think I heard that story.
But he backed off literally because Studio Ghibli sent him a samurai sword saying no cuts. So that's
nice.
I didn't even know Weinstein would have been involved in Princess Mononoke for the English release. I thought it was like a Disney thing.
Yeah, but like
it was Disney, but under like Miramax, because Disney owned Miramax back in the 90s.
Oh, really?
That's why. Yeah.
And then John Lester stepped in when they were doing the English stuff for Spirit Away, I think.
Well, the show Bluey, Disney basically distributes it, but they cut out some stuff that is like from the original production of like Bluey in order to make it a bit more accessible.
I mean, it's not that new anymore, but it's kind of annoying when ruining the stuff that made it appeasable in the original.
Very Aussie show, I've been told. Even though I'm Australian, I've never seen it.
Bluey
Well,
Did they
Bears.
have to cut out like
I've
a
seen
bunch of
bits.
cunts or something?
I don't know if they did this, but there's one episode where it implied that one character that is like a relative of Bluey had a miscarriage.
Yeah, the mom, I believe.
It was voiced by
wasn't
the
the m-
woman who's Australian and is in like a bunch of
Yeah,
American
it-
films.
It wasn't the mum. I think it was the mum's sister. She's like an aunt to both Bluey and Bingo. And she was playing with Bingo until Bingo basically ran away to play with Bluey and her mum. And she reaches out like, "Oh, come back." And it's implied that she had a
Roseburn.
miscarriage.
Roseburn is her name's
Yeah.
in that episode.
That I saw. I haven't seen Bluey, but I saw that clip, and I remember something very different from what you're describing.
There's a
Mm.
bunch of censorship examples for
Because the
Bluey.
clip I saw, it was like Bluey and the other kid, like one of them like shoved a balloon under their shirt.
Oh, yes.
And then the balloon popped, and the dad just like touched the mom's hand.
Yeah,
And
I think that
like,
was
the
another
implication.
episode. Yeah, there was another episode that implied that the mom.
Wait, there's
might
more
have
than
also
one
had a
miscarriage
miscarriage.
episode?
It
Yeah,
seems
there's,
like it.
2 episodes where they dealt
That's
with a
funny.
miscarriage.
There's one
Oh,
the first.
Oh,
I mean,
dear.
it's not as bad as like when 4Kids do, where they basically make Americans feel dumbfounded when they realize that the rice ball is actually a jelly donut in American views, which is kind of
Mhm.
stupid when you think about it.
But really, it's like it's not
That's
like the
funny.
first children's show to delve into that kind of deep issues. Like,
jelly donuts are delicious.
like Chucky's mother. Like, remember, like Chucky's mother and all that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I thought like miscarriage was covered in like an episode or two of Rugrats before.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
Oh, was
that'd be
it? Holy
interesting.
shit.
Unless maybe it's just censoring it now because standards have changed because maybe like the cast
I
of
don't
Bluey
know.
would get arrested in Texas these days
I
if
think,
they if a character had a miscarriage.
yeah, I think Disney
Mhm.
just censors whatever they want at this point.
Then Daily Wire saw Bluey and decided, hey, that's getting popular. Let's do that with our own version.
Did
Dip
that
chillin'.
show?
Nico,
Yeah,
your
it-
hand is up.
A few questions asked. They're off topic.
Sure.
What do you think of David Lynch as a filmmaker and not just a person?
I mean, the two are intertwined. I think the films that I love the most from people are the ones that kind of give me a window into their psyche, right? Those are like the best, most interesting films to me. And David Lynch definitely does that with his movies. It is a window into his psyche. They're not as, great for me as like something like a Todorowsky movie or, he is very meditative and obviously there's a lot of praise for his film over like the tone and atmosphere and like just the vibes of it. And I could imagine if I was like really into that vibe, like if that was like my favorite thing, then obviously I would love his films a lot more. And I don't even dislike his films. I just think that it's weird for people to freak out if I give one of his films a 7. That's the reason why I have like a weird beef with like
shit.
David Lynch
That's
fans
not-
is like,
Oh.
oh yeah, like a 7 is worth arguing about. Like that's a high rating.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
it's not a 10.
A 7 from
Oh,
you is like a
it's the end of the
14
world.
out of 10
Fucking
on most
yeah, there's
people's scales.
there's
Yeah.
unironically there's a lot of like David Lynch fanboys that are literally no better than Marvel fanboys. There's a type of like film bro that like looks at the real art of and they criticize Marvel people and their fan base and in the same way that Marvel fanboys criticize like Snyder fanboys. It's like you're all kind of the same if you're treating films like a fucking contest and you're treating art like some sort of objective standard that like there's a correct answer and you're going to freak out if somebody has a different interpretation or a
Yeah.
different experience.
You can
Then you're all the
all-
fucking same and it doesn't matter what your tastes are.
You
Yeah.
can
But
all
the thing is,
unite
like,
and
with
join hands because
Yeah,
you're
but the
all
thing is,
just
like,
as
within
dumb.
their mind, it's like the objective truths, right?
Yeah, because they were taught
Because-
which films are good in film school. They were
Yeah.
taught which movies are the ones that are the good ones, and if you don't, Films
Not
films are
really.
It's a very
there's a
deductive way
hierarchy of films, and you must not challenge that hierarchy, because in art you shouldn't challenge any existing hierarchies. That's of obvious. Not in art, you shouldn't do that. Everything is set in
that's
stone. Nothing, no
Yeah.
new experiences can be had. We've already decided what those experiences are. We've already decided what you can and can't say it about a movie. So
I had
Yeah, like
talks
what
with
is-
a lot of film
Good answer,
professors who are like who are
Yeah.
telling me like you need to follow my rule, otherwise
Yeah.
my movies helps a lot of my students win awards. Therefore, this
Yeah.
is like therefore this is like the only right way to do that. And I felt like that's kind of like a very destructive way, because I like you're just-
Very.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
almost
yeah,
like,
it's kind of what Charlie Coffin was getting at in Adaptation, looking at like the writing seminar
Yeah.
and just like
or
the
like
bullshit
the,
of that.
Well, Artemis, that was the one with Mozart. Artemis is just like the other guy. Amadeus. Sorry, my bad.
Okay.
The other guy, he kept
Feeding
on
time.
making like average things, but like he kept on winning awards. But like at the end, no one remembers him. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You have your hand raised. Is what were you gonna?
Oh,
For me? Oh,
Oh,
sorry, someone
Meat
else.
Boy.
Go first. I'm on.
you sure, kid?
Meat Boy, you're in
Yeah,
the order
okay.
of. It's
Yeah,
easier
yeah,
for me
yeah.
if I go left to
You-
right.
Yeah. Speaking about differences in opinions, I want to poke your a little bit brain on like Godzilla -1, because I'm curious, more curious what you feel about that film. I know you've seen it, but I'll let you because I have some minor gripes with it, and just in terms of like in general what I feel about Godzilla. But I'll let you go ahead, say what you felt
Sure.
about Godzilla.
Let me
-1.
see if I can find where. Yes, it is in this notebook.
Mhm.
I'm just in case I
I have
forget
some
some things
controversial
here.
opinions, but I'm curious to see what you have to say first.
Was there even
Yeah,
a student Godzilla movie?
I'm gonna save it. I want to hear what
I
Yeah,
like.
spoiler for
Okay,
you
yeah,
guys.
I liked the tone. I liked the perspective shots. I thought that the opening scene was really great.
Yeah.
I guess it's trying to be the closest towards the original out of all of the sort of, reimaginations. I guess kind of like story and structure wise, it follows it similarly enough for it to be like a very clear kind of direct reimagining of that, rather than like an entirely new take on it. And I like what they added to it in terms of music. I liked the new score, but then they returned to the old score. I found that kind of like took me out of the movie a bit, because it was just
Same.
redoing the original score. And that original score, it's good, but it's also kind of been reused and repurposed in so many times. Like, I was thinking of that rap song, like Simon Says "Shut the fuck up" every time that they started playing it, because they sample that, right? And then the other theme, I was thinking of fucking that stupid French director Leo Carax, who used it in 2 of his films. Absolutely ruined the song for me. And it just made some terrible stuff with it. Oops, sorry, I tried
There
to
we
mute
go.
you. Okay, sorry. There you go. There's like background noise in someone's mic, and I can't tell.
It
who
was
is.
Jay, I saw,
Okay, yeah.
but he's mute now.
Okay,
so
muted now. All right. Yeah. So the score, returning to the old score, was weird. I found the acting to not be amazing. It was very anime, like very over exaggerated.
Sorry.
And it's one of those things where it's like, if I say that in a review, then some dipshit goes on Twitter and clips it and goes like, Adam thinks every person that's Japanese is acting anime. But no, I've seen a lot of Japanese film. There's a big difference between like a Koreeda film, right, and Godzilla. One's obviously, trying to be a monster movie, and one's trying to be like interpersonal, quiet drama, right? So I understand the differences in genre, obviously. But as a person, I've seen a lot of Japanese movies. The acting in this really just feels like they were doing very over exaggerated performances and not particularly convincing either. So I had a bit of an issue with that. And then what else? Let's see.
Would you say it's melodramatic?
I mean, at points maybe, but I guess just the act. Like, I like the way they handled emotions for the most part, I guess, and I like that it felt like there was consequence to the character and like the whole guilt angle. I like what they set up, but it also just inevitably fell into the exact same trap that every single Godzilla movie does, that every Godzilla movie falls into, is that it's only, only a tiny chunk of the movie actually is Godzilla, and the rest of it is just human beings yapping. And if the human beings yapping isn't interesting, and it was in the first act, it was in their yapping was interesting in the first act, but like for the entire second act of the movie, I was like, I just didn't care about them. I didn't care about what was going on. Get back to Godzilla. Get back to the Stompies or whatever. Like, fuck, who cares? We gotta find another way to do these movies and stop just rehashing the exact same old formula. And people criticize me for like my rating for the 2014 Godzilla is still a 7 because I haven't seen it since it was released. And who knows, maybe I might change it to a 6. But what I do remember enjoying about that movie is that they didn't just stick with like one character for one human character. They kind of changed characters, and that made it more palatable when Godzilla wasn't in the story. Also, it was like, we're following Godzilla, not necessarily just the characters. It wasn't like, one character happens to be where Godzilla is every point in time. It was like, here's another character. This other one we're not going to think about anymore past this point in the movie. Okay. I remember liking that about it. So I don't know if I'll change it to a fucking 6. Or I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Adam, do you mind? Okay, let me interject. I want to say, like, there's something I would really agree with you in terms of the acting. Especially like there was an actress, Sakura. I don't remember her name. Mm-hmm. She was in 2 of Koreeda's movie. It's funny it's interesting that you brought her name up because like she was in Monster and she was also in Shoplifter. And then like in this movie, like you can see what she was trying to do, but like it came out very over the top and really unconvincing. She was like the ant.
Yeah, like
in Godzilla. Her performance. Yeah, she's a really great actress. It's just like
the director does not specialize in performances. The director specializes in special effects.
Yeah, that's what he was doing a lot of special effects.
You need somebody else to like help him out with the like performance dramatic angles.
I agree with most of what you said, except I have like 2 like things I want to poke your brain at. Mm-hmm. So the first thing you mentioned, like when I watched a lot of Godzilla movies, a lot of like kaiju movies when I was young. It's like part of my identity. I also really loved Ultraman. Shin Ultraman was it. Shin Ultraman has a lot of problems, but like I still enjoy that film. Mm-hmm. Before I proceed, like in terms of like the origins of Godzilla, I just want to quickly ask you, like, how many Godzilla movies have you seen?
I've seen the original. I've seen the 2014 one. I've seen Shin Godzilla. I've seen the 1998 one, which was really bad. I've seen Godzilla versus Kong, like both of them, I think, the newer ones. And I've completely avoided all of the original like Toho sequels because I just wasn't that into the first one to begin with. I was really kind of like bored by the first one. So if like, and I've heard from even people that like the first one, it's like the sequels are not.
They're awful.
Sequels are not great.
I recently
introduced the 3-headed dragon at some point.
Yeah, I recently watched the Godzilla versus Gigan and was like, oh my god, this is like really terrible, and it was like gave me newfound appreciation to Godzilla minus one. But for
Oh,
me,
I watched Shin
like,
Godzilla. Yeah, I like Shin
oh,
Godzilla.
Shin Godzilla was really
I like
good.
that better than -1.
That's my
Same.
favorite one.
I'm on the
That's
same
my
boat.
favorite one.
I'm on the same boat with you. But like with Godzilla minus one, I don't know. It comes across to me as like very like Hollywood. It's almost like a Hollywood version of like the first Godzilla of like
It's
the original
modernized.
Godzilla. Yeah.
Mm.
But the thing is, the thing that's always appeals to me about Godzilla is not like, hey, we have the lasers, we can shoot, shoot, shoot. You know, it's always like Godzilla as like almost this like a natural disaster. Like you can't do anything to like you can't do anything about it. And then
Mhm.
even if you can do something to quell it, you know, it's always at the expense of like someone someone else or like
There needs to be a
you're
bit
not
more of
really
like a helplessness.
yeah, like a little
Mm.
bit more nihilism, a little bit more
Yeah.
like dreary. With Godzilla minus one, like the tone just doesn't sit right with me. The two Godzilla movies I really liked was Godzilla, the first one, and Shin Godzilla. Like the 2014 one was all right, but like the especially with Shin Godzilla when he destroyed the city and this was the music crescendoing. You know, there's some
I
really
thought the
great
design
imagery.
and the animation was really good in Shin
Yeah,
Godzilla. I thought it was
I
really
think it
cool.
was terrifying.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like it.
this one,
It's the Godzilla movie where I can like visually remember something about it, which is a good thing.
yeah,
Mm.
this one
Mm.
just doesn't have like even on the base level of like the
Hmm.
imagery. It was just like not really sticking out to me. Like the Godzilla design looks like very well. The special effects was great, especially like when it's the water
Kind of
chase. That was a great
the
one.
new Godzilla, the minus one, kind of looks like a mixture of like 2014 Godzilla and the Toho Godzilla, from what I've
Same.
seen.
Same. Yeah, I agree with you. I would agree with you, Ron. But like, yeah, like something about the tone, just like it felt like lost, and that was
Mm.
like kind of really disappointing for me. It's at times I'm being a little bit uncharitable, but at times it's almost felt like I'm watching a Roland Emmerich movie.
Mm.
Just in terms of tone, the characters were
That's not
way
a good sign at all.
I thought it was better than that in terms of tone.
It
but
was better, yeah, but like just tonally, it felt a
I
little bit.
I liked the original score. I thought that the Godzilla -1 was pretty good at tone, but yeah, it was also just a Godzilla movie, which comes with its own
I
problems.
felt like Shin Godzilla also has that little bit of X factor, you know, like the choir, like when Godzilla blew up the city, that was like a very memorable piece of music, and also like when Godzilla first came into the city and they were thinking about like whether shooting him a lot, there's like a really
Mm.
memorable drum sequence. In this one,
Mm.
like especially not
Yeah,
to
it's
spoil
directed by the same guy who did Ava, so that's not surprising.
Evangelion, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And yeah, just like which I'm just quickly moving to the second contention. It was like the music in this one, especially not to spoil anything, but like when it got to the second act, there's like a music. I don't know if you remember Adam. It's like the same notes kind of repeating for
Mhm.
like 15 minutes. And at a certain points, like first 2 minutes was like, okay, that's kind of fun. And then it's like repeat over and over and over again. It was like kind of annoyed, you know?
Yeah. It's kind of like how I feel about Alien 3, where it's like I thought the music in that film is great, but the film is like really underwhelming.
All right.
I felt
Will we
Sorry,
be able
Adam,
to
it's
wrap
too
up
much
the
of your time.
Godzilla discussion?
Yeah.
Just because there's other people with their hands raised, I don't want to.
Yeah, sorry. That's the only two contentions. Like
Sure.
the tone felt a little bit weird, and also I wasn't really digging into like the music. I felt it's a little bit repetitive, especially with that in the middle, that musical score in the middle. It felt a little bit distracting. That's it. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Well, as a
Thank
non-Godzilla
you.
fan, which one do you recommend as other than the original? And from my understanding, it seems like Shin Godzilla is the winner.
For like a modern
sorry.
one, Shin Godzilla would be a good one to watch, but just expect it's like half cool, half cheesy.
I agree.
Of course.
Yeah.
And like distinctly cool scenes and cheesy scenes are separate.
Yeah.
The English in Shin
Yeah,
Godzilla was fun.
yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
All right, that was it, Meat Boy.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, I took too much of everyone's time.
Don't worry about it.
You're fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. All right.
That's it.
Kiet?
How's your Christmas, mate? Actually, it's a true question, but this is the first one. How's your Christmas?
It was part, it was a little hectic, and then I enjoyed myself. Spent some time with the big Italian family, not my family. Well, at first I did my family, and then LW's family, and it was a very fun experience. And there was lots of food and lots of pizza and lots of Italians.
Yeah.
And his one uncle liked movies, and we talked the whole time.
It was a mafia family. Was it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Also, second question. I'll try to hopefully keep this one quick.
Sure.
My family.
Do you use TikTok?
Do I use TikTok?
You still use it? Or
very infrequently.
Good. Because I was gonna say delete it, but very infrequently is also a good answer.
I mean, it's just
TikTok is cancer.
I was just hoping for like any content that I liked. But there's like no good shit on the entire website.
Yeah, it's awful.
I only found like one channel I liked watching on TikTok, and that person moved to YouTube, so I don't care.
I'm just there to support Nanolan.
I have a TikTok account. I literally never fucking use it. I think I like logged out of it. It still exists, but I don't even know my password for the TikTok account. But I don't care enough to really look into it.
It's a bunch of scams.
I have YouTube Shorts to fulfill me for. I have YouTube Shorts to fulfill my TikTok needs, so I guess I have that to do.
I mean, YouTube Shorts is basically all the stuff from TikTok, but just upload there. So they're basically equal.
I'd still avoid short.
TikTok seems like more like manipulative and exploitative in just how the app functions. Even it seems more sneaky. And dishonest.
It is a slot machine.
It is very dirty. It is. TikTok is like really dirty dancing.
Yeah, it's
what Elon Musk is doing with Twitter, because this is a Chinese-based company.
I guess you could say that. Yeah,
that's
how
all
I feel about it.
Thanks, Adam.
Oh, thank you. Grum.
That is me.
Hello.
I have both a question and a film recommendation. First, the question. How do you feel about news about a Saw 11 happening? And do you think Kevin Grudit will return?
They better fucking let him return. They're crazy if they don't. Like, they've seen what the fucking what's their faces brothers have done. Was it the Spear Brothers?
Spear Brothers. I swear they only.
I want to call them an ableist slur. Their name is so close.
I think they only did one decent film, and I think that was Undead. Everything else after.
I think you're talking about Predestination.
Oh, Predestination! I thought that was okay, but Daywalkers,
Oh god, was it I think it was. Daybreakers. Yeah, Daybreakers is a movie where I watched at the Cineplex Odeon in South Edmonton Common right after having a new McDonald's item, and I think it was like the McMini or something, and there were like two different kinds. And then in the middle of the movie, I felt like I was going to pass out, and I had to like go to the bathroom. I thought I was going to die. I like put water on my face, and I was like, was it the movie or was it the McMini that almost killed me? I don't know.
Yeah, the movie was definitely very mid.
It's not good.
No.
I rated it a 6 apparently in 2009.
It feels more like
2009. I enjoyed it a bit.
I think I would have gave it an 8 at the time because I was like a massive horror fan and all that. And now thinking back to it, like watching more film and having a balanced media diet, I feel like it's either a very low 5 or a 4, because Willem Dafoe is in it, and he's probably the best part of the movie.
Everybody loves him.
and everything else is like, nah.
We stand Willem. So yeah, we've seen what the Spear brothers have done. We've seen what
the last
Darren
film
Lynn
was
Bousman and Chris
Winchester.
Rock have done. So they better fucking stick with Kevin Gruder. Who the hell else are they gonna get? Kevin obviously
David
wants
Hackle.
to do it. No. Kevin wants to do it. Let Kevin do it. Give him full control. That's all we need.
Kevin Gruder.
We stand Kevin
in his dojo.
Why couldn't they just bring back Lee Winnell since he's the one who did the first Saw?
Lee Winnell's doing Wolfman next year. Actually,
I
That's his
hear
next
that
film.
like James Wan is returning to Saw in some sort of role, but I don't know if that just means like a writing or producer credit. I hear that
feel like it's more executive producer.
probably,
but yeah, who knows? I'd be happy if he does like a co-writing role though.
I mean, I
see
don't
what
even care if
ideas he
he's
can
involved.
table.
Just let Kevin do whatever he wants. It's
Yeah,
fine.
right.
Like fucking James Wan, he hasn't been involved since Saw 3, right?
Yeah.
So like all the
referring to Lee Winnell.
Yeah, Saw 3, yes.
Yeah, James Wan and Lee Winnell have not been involved since Saw 3. So if we're gonna keep doing shit with like Hoffman and just the whole all this, if we're gonna keep doing stuff with all these other things they've set up, kind of like after they left anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. We don't even need them to come back. I think the Saw X was fine.
No Bousman, please. No Bousman.
Yeah, no Darren.
He
He's terrible.
sucks.
He's awful.
Yeah. Like, just let him do those, like, repo, opera movies or whatever he does. And
he has a new
call it a
movie
day.
called The Cello that is apparently out.
Yes.
And I haven't seen it. I don't know if I can find it yet or not.
Speaking of movie,
like a Hollywood director who made a couple of Hollywood films, but then eventually gives him the skill to something like China.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, speaking of directors that I didn't even know had a new movie out, Pablo Larraín had a film that came out earlier this year that nobody saw on Netflix called.
I know exactly. El Conte.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it, but
I tried to make room to see it and I couldn't. I was just so busy.
He has a new film coming out next year called Maria, which is I guess the conclusion to his trilogy of like female biopics or something with like Jackie, Spencer, and now Maria, which will be interesting.
What's this one about again?
What, the new one, Maria?
Who?
Angelina Jolie is the main actress, and it's like based on like a singer from like the early 20th century that's really popular or something.
Do we know the name of the singer?
What?
Do we know the name of the singer?
That's Maria. Well, that's the name of the film. That's probably the name of the singer. Let me look.
Yeah, but like, who's the singer? Maria Bartiromo.
There you go.
No.
Maria Callas. Maria Callas. That's
who the
name.
hell is that?
That's very funny.
Who is that?
Maria Callas. I'll look this up. It's
Who's
apparently a
that
famous
Pokemon.
An American Greek soprano. That's that. I just looked up her name, and it's like she's an American Greek soprano.
Okay, well maybe if she has like a really interesting life, then cool.
Cool. I suppose I could get to the film recommendation.
Go for it.
Okay, so I don't know if you have this on your list of movies to watch, but a movie I would recommend is from Australia. It's got Guy Pearce. It's called The Proposition. It's directed by John Hillcoat with the story or script written by Nick Cave.
That is on my watch list.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember the last time I watched it, I really, really loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will probably give it a rewatch to see if I would still love it, but it's definitely notable in terms of like, getting to recommend you more like Australian content.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. And also the director of this movie, he directed The Road with Viggo Mortensen 3 years after. So that's probably a reason why I would recommend this as well.
I don't know why it's on my watch list. Because I wasn't huge on the road. I thought it was fine. I don't know why this is on my watch, but it is, and I will watch it. So thank you.
Awesome. No, thank you.
BC 467.
Hey, so a couple of questions. A quick one. You planning on doing a watch along for the new Cool Cat versus Dirty Dog, the Virus Wars soon?
Yeah, well, I'm waiting until I'm back in Vancouver to do it with Scoot. So I should probably set up a date for that sometime in the second half of January, probably.
Oh, nice. That'll be fun. And I guess that'll be a fun one. And then the second thing is, I've actually been watching The Curse by Nathan Fielder recently. Have you been watching, or are you doing a watch along for that soon?
I would like to do a watch along for that as well, and I would probably also say second half of January. I have not seen any of it.
I've only seen the first 4 episodes. I'm not going to spoil what happens in it, I promise. But
of course.
I'll say it's different, and I really like it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say anything else, but I thought maybe you watched it on your own or something. But
no, I was leaving it out. Well, first of all, I've been too fucking busy to watch it, and then second, I was leaving it open to maybe watch a couple of. I thought maybe my brother would want to watch some over Christmas, with family, and then even then, we just didn't really have time. We just
the
one
thing
I
will say about it: don't watch The Curse with your parents, because there's some stuff in it that I won't spoil, but just don't watch it with your parents.
I was kind of leaning towards that. My brother was like, "Oh, we could watch it." I'm like, I don't. The way I've heard it described is the most uncomfortable thing. I don't know if my mom's going to enjoy that, right? So I don't know. I don't know if that's a mom show.
It's not a show it to your parents kind of show, at all.
I kind of got that vibe from it.
But I really like it. I'm obviously I'm not going to spoil what happens in it, but definitely don't show your fucking.
So when does the last episode air? In the next couple of weeks or something?
So the newest episode just came.
It's not episode 7. It's just 10 episodes total. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, the last episode is on the I think the 12th of January. So
okay, so by the time I'm back, I can just marathon it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last episode airs January 14th.
I bit the bullet and got myself a Paramount Plus / Showtime subscription just to watch the show, and then I'm going to cancel it immediately when I'm done with it. But...
Yeah, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, but I usually I was gonna maybe do it as the episodes were coming up, and then I thought to save money, I was like, fuck it, we're gonna have to do it this way because there's no way to watch it any other way unless if you have Paramount Plus Showtime bundle subscriptions, which is bullshit. But it's a really good show, and I'm really liking it where it's going, although it's very, very different from Nathan Fielder's other stuff. And then the final thing I wanted to add, actually I was gonna oh yeah, that one more thing. I have a game recommendation for you, but obviously you're busy, so I'm not gonna have you do this right now or anything. But there's a game I've been playing that got on Game Pass, but it's on Steam as well, called Roller Drome. It's a roller skating game that is very similar to Tony Hawk, but with a gun. It's very short. You can you can play the game on one stream. It's really short. It's only 12 levels, but it's really surprisingly
short
fun.
Game.
Yeah, it's there's 12 levels, and the reason I compare the Tony Hawk is because of the movement of the game, and it's something I figure you would enjoy because I've been playing it recently.
That's cool.
It's I think it's a game you would enjoy, but that's all I have.
BAFTA award winning.
Oh,
it won a BAFTA. Apparently.
Interesting.
Does that mean anything?
I don't know if that means anything. Fucking Goodbye Volcano High won a award at Tribeca, right?
True.
Was it Tribeca?
True that.
What film festival did they? Was it Venice?
Oh, they
or
won
Tribeca?
The Joker Award.
Snoot Game over Goodbye Volcano High.
They're Reddit's remaking Snoot Game. Actually, I think Reddit.
It was Tribeca. They won the Tribeca Games
take
Award.
The fucking transphobia out of it.
I don't know.
Sorry, what did you? What about Snoot Game?
They're remaking it on Reddit. Some Reddit users remaking the entire game with better graphics and stuff.
What?
I'm not even kidding. I have to.
That's funny.
What's wrong with the what do you? It's already a perfectly functional. If it's literally just a text game, it's a story dating sim or whatever. What?
People got so mad in the fucking comment section about me complaining about the start of Snoot Game in the playthrough. It was
I'll
so
finish it
funny.
at some point.
They still like pester me about it. It's so weird. I get comments about like the fact that I said Snoot Game was kind of transphobic.
It's a fan base.
It's like,
Well, it's
okay.
more of a fan base than Goodbye Volcano High.
It literally is.
True.
It literally is. One of my
True. I
cameo
think even
requests
more
was
fan
for the
art.
one of my cameo requests was for the Snoot Game Discord server. So
I
to
found it.
to
More fan
roast
art
the
than,
mods, I roasted the
I
mods
think it
there.
even got. I think it even got more fan art than Goodbye Volcano High too.
I found it.
Which
I
is
put
Of course
the
it
link
did.
in chat.
hilarious.
Of course it did. It's like it's the more competent game.
It's the
like,
quintessential game.
It's
It
what
is
the
more
hell?
competent.
It's so embarrassing. The Goodbye Volcano High is like the most embarrassing, pathetic release maybe ever.
The Virgin Volcano High versus the Chad Snoot game.
Metacritic
Meme.
fucking I can't believe this shit. Metacritic PC 82 out of 100 for Goodbye Volcano High. PS5 81
Ew.
out of 100. How many critics?
Ew. Like 4, maybe.
Let's see.
One.
I'm gonna click on these. Yeah, what the fuck? Eurogamer 100. Part
What?
visual. Eurogamer gave this 100 perfect score.
What? What
Yeah.
did they give
I
it? What did they
100
give-
out of 100.
100.
They gave it
Like
to
a
what? I
perfect
meant?
score?
A 5
They gave it like a
star
5 out
to
of
Goodbye
5.
Volcano High. Eurogamer.net.
Boring
I
game.
feel like they did it to spite Snoot Game and its fans.
These
and
people,
not
no, it's
because of the quality of the game.
these are the exact same types of people that would be if they were right leaning. They would be talking about fucking Sound of Freedom, right?
Yes.
It's like you don't
Yes.
care about the art.
same-
you don't
the
care
same
about the
sort of
art. You're just
people-
you picked a side and you've decided what
Yeah.
you're gonna say based on what side you've picked.
The same sort of people that would rate Black Christmas 2019 very highly because it smashed the patriarchy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch the Black Christmas. I was busy that day when you were doing the watch along. But what
It was
I heard
crazy.
I heard Black Christmas 2019 is like basically just like a man hating film or some shit like that.
It is the preachiest movie ever made. Maybe.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
like
I'd like to watch
There's
that
like there's
film.
no movie there. It's literally just a seminar, and then yeah, all men are
I-
bad and get away with everything.
it's
I felt
basically
like
if
It's even more
Barbie
funny when
was
you realize it's written and
annoying.
directed by a woman, so it makes it kind of
Yeah.
worse when you think about it.
It felt like I was watching a Law and Order SVU episode. It was that
The
preachy.
Oh
dialogue
yeah,
was
it's just it's
insane.
Life
not
is
even
strange
like
shit.
Someone
it's,
call
it's
it
Life
Lisa
is strange.
Swanbro's script for this.
Yeah, season
Um,
1 and 2 Law and Order wasn't even that bad, but like the later it goes on, the preachier it becomes.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, it was Levi Turner did a super chat. Thank you so much. As someone who
tried to
follows
watch
Oscar
the 20
predictions, they say you might have to watch The Color Purple because old people absolutely love it and it's making some money. Also, it's
Yeah,
directed by
right.
Steven Spielberg, which
No,
is why
it's not. No, it's not. It's not directed by Steven Spielberg.
it's not.
It's
the
produced.
new one is not.
The
The new one is
trailers misled me. I thought it was a Steven Spielberg film. This happens all the time. These fucking assholes.
Well, now you have to watch
I'm gonna pull a
two
Joe
Color
Rogan,
Purples.
just be like, "This is why we can't trust the media."
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe RK Outpost and the Quartering have a point.
Mm.
I heard like
Suspicious.
isn't like RK Outpost was
fuck?
like I heard he was
I
some like
swear it
over
was a new
Destiny
Steven
debate.
Spielberg movie. Isn't
Steven
RK
Spielberg-
Outpost what? What did you say?
Like I heard some older Destiny debate like with
Oh,
like
did he debate Destiny?
right wing people, and I heard the name RK Outpost
Oh,
getting shout out like on super chat.
oh,
So
Oh,
I was
really?
like,
whatever.
yeah,
Oh, God.
Funny character.
Okay.
What these
I could
these,
be wrong.
these characters don't look very purple to me. All right, Kiki, what's your hand is raised? Hello, what's up?
Yeah, it's like when talking about like Snoot Game and being super well received for being I guess in this case a piece of queer media. Also sorry about the noise. I'm outside,
All good.
obviously.
fine.
Anyway, yeah, it's like when people sort of like take these things and just clench them and kind of be like, this is the pinnacle. This is the only piece of queer media that has ever been made. It's like, I find that people are kind of like that a lot, especially with queer media and films directed by women, which I honestly find really damaging.
Patronizing.
Because not only damaging but patronizing as well. And it's like and this is kind of like why I like Tar a lot, is because that film is kind of just about like Lydia Tar is essentially the status quo of this field. Like, she sees herself as like the exception in this highly male dominated field, when in reality there's so many voices out there, and even in her own class, that are waiting to be heard. So it's like, when I see like pieces of queer media or media directed by women and they're bad or fail in any way, I just see that as a sign of like, great, give more opportunities to other women and queer people to direct something and have their chance to tell their stories, because they are out there. I can tell you that much.
It's
like,
a sort of thing and discussion that really makes me respect Tar more and more as time goes on. Really makes me want to see the film again.
I've seen Tar like 3 times. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it's just, it's so incredibly frustrating, like, to see, like, my big one was for like Nomadland especially, and then seeing Chloe Zhao heralded as like this legendary filmmaker. Like, are you kidding me? First of all, that movie was 100% Frances McDormand.
Also,
and secondly, sorry.
Also, do they not remember The Hurt Locker from 2008? That was also directed
Catherine.
by
Also, that like we don't even have to go that far back. I'm looking at my short list for 2023 of like things that will most likely be on my 2023 list. There's 8 movies directed by women on it.
I was like,
there's no shortage.
On the queer cinema note, not forgive me for the tonal shift, but yesterday I saw Bottoms for the first time.
Yeah, that's on it.
And I had a lot of fun with that.
That was a good one. I like that one a lot.
Bottoms was fucking awesome.
It's funny.
Someone mentioned Hurt Locker, and I used to have like a Red fan kind of a friend. I was like, oh yeah, Hurt Locker, that was also like a award winning by women, right? And she told me that doesn't count. I was like, why not?
Because it's a dude movie.
It's nepotism, yeah.
Oh, nepotism?
And yeah.
Because she was married to James Cameron or something.
That's a weird way to discredit her as a director.
Yeah, and then
that's kind of funny.
Basically, her logic, it was like, this is basically a hierarchy, put her up there. She doesn't represent feminism. And it was like a weird conversation.
Well, because it wasn't a woke movie.
Yeah.
She would have had a better argument if she just said, because she also directed Zero Dark 30.
More like Zero Fart Dirty.
Got him.
Got her.
Got her by the pussy.
Oh, God. Yeah, if people watched more documentary films, then people would be more supporting more women filmmakers, because a lot of documentaries just happen to be women filmmakers. It's like it's like the opposite in terms of like how the gender is
I think
laid
there's
out.
a lot of like people want female directors in like MCU because they don't want to like look underneath like, hey, there's a lot of really great independents or foreign films that was.
Oh yeah, because those are the real movies. Those are the real. You gotta have women directing the real movies too.
Yeah.
It's like, well, those aren't good. Hello.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay,
yes.
Good.
Hello. Welcome. Yeah, we were talking about
women directors
and Goodbye Volcano
and trans
High.
directors.
Yeah, Kokomo City was really good. If anybody hasn't seen that
Joker.
yet.
Oh yeah, People's Joker got a release date for next year in theaters for April 5th. They missed the opportunity to do it on April 1st, but we'll see how that goes.
Who cares if it's April 1st? Kokomo City might be out on digital right now. Yeah.
Do you feel like, Adam, especially like with People's Joker, do you feel like a lot of people like, hey, this is a great independence movie? They just assign the definition of independence movie to whatever they want to instead of like actually digging into it?
I don't know what you mean by that, and I haven't seen the movie yet.
Sorry, let me rephrase it. So like when People's Joker came out, there's a lot of buzz. And a lot of people say, "Wow, this is like such a great quote unquote independence movie."
I think it got the most buzz because it got fucking copyright striked in the middle of their screening. It got one screening at TIFF, and then Warner Brothers made them like take it down, and then now they're back. I think that's why.
Did you mean a ticket for the TIFF premiere of the People's Joker?
No, it wasn't even on my radar of things to see because it looked like kind of a shitpost movie. I'll watch it. But I was kind of busy with other things. Amanda saw it.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say. Go ahead. Sorry. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. Oh my God. Yeah, I had a ticket to the second screening of it, and
Damn it.
yeah, when I heard the news, I had to break it to my friend, who I also got a ticket for. That. Yeah, we got to do something.
Now you realized it's a society that you live in.
We do live in a society. I'm a societarian.
When they canceled the People's Joker, I had my Joker moment.
The People's Joker.
Did you do the Joker dance?
Leave the world behind.
That's life.
Yeah. Damn, where can I find Kokomo City? It says that the digital release date has happened on Google, but Google sometimes lies to you about things.
Is Hundreds of Beavers getting a digital release next
I hear February. And also Kokomo City is on Amazon. So you can watch it. Yeah. It is available digitally.
I really want to see 100 Beavers.
Hundreds
on my watch list.
Hundreds of Beavers.
Hundreds of Beavers.
Yeah. I want to see it as well. It's undeniably that and Zone of Interest. I still need to see. I think Zone of Interest is getting a wide release next month. So
definitely. I'll be definitely seeing that in the theater next year.
Zone of Interest is it could win the Oscar. I'm calling it now. Zone of Interest will win Best Film. And no, I'm not involved with the production in any way. If I am not correct, I'm giving myself my own Oscar.
I am not paid by Jonathan Glazer.
Or James, what's his name? Jason Blum.
Or any associations with the guild.
Yeah, Poor Things was great. I'm worried that it's like too edgy for the Oscars. I feel like they kind of gotta give it like, fine, we'll toss you a cinematography nom. But I think they're gonna largely ignore it because they're like, some people might be upset that we nominated.
No, I think it's projected to get a bunch of noms. I mean, we'll see how it
Hopefully.
goes.
They'll probably nominate Emma Stone.
Hopefully, but like the Oscars has a history of like any kind of edgy, fun movie they just ignore.
I mean, the last year's Oscars, they chose the edgy film from Everything Everywhere at Once, but
that's not edgy.
I was just gonna bring that up.
No, it wasn't.
Everything Everywhere All at Once is not an edgy movie. What?
I mean,
it has its moments.
Edgy? I don't think so.
The trophy's not the edgiest part.
Just those trophies. I meant to say is that it's a very weird movie that I don't think anyone would possibly think it's recognizable.
I mean, it was very widely palatable.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was universally acclaimed by everybody. Its entire success at the box office was just because of word of mouth. And that was all leading up it had a release like pretty early in the year too, so it had that entire time to like prime the Oscars for being like, I guess we can
like it.
We can recommend this movie. When I say edgy, I mean like there's some people that might not going to say anything about Poor Things. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a lot of stuff within it that some people might find like morally reprehensible and like, oh, you're not this is disgusting sort of thing. And the Oscars usually avoids those types of movies where
They're fucking cowards.
they are
They're gonna-
cowards because
Yeah.
they're afraid of like old white ladies complaining.
Yeah, it kind of fucking
An
blows.
old
They
white
don't
lady
care.
named Matt Walsh.
Yeah,
don't
they're afraid
care
of
about
Matthew Walsh.
art.
They're pretty
Yeah,
much
so
the
I'm-
nuclear family.
I'm hoping
Yeah,
like
on
so
any
this
level.
it's really up in the air. I think it'll get like maybe 1 or 2 nominations. If it gets snubbed,
What
that would
is-
suck. But Poor Things. I'm
Yes,
hoping
okay.
I'm hoping that it gets a bunch, but I'm not expecting it just because of how edgy it is. If they do, you never know because his last film was The Favorite, which got nominated for a shit ton, right?
I
Yeah.
think it should get costuming at the very least and score.
Costume would be great. Production
Yes.
design would be fucking awesome. I mean,
Yes.
here's the thing. It deserves a lot. It depends on
Yes,
how much
absolutely.
like it gets campaigned for by Searchlight. It depends on whether or not they want to upset some Karens somewhere.
I'm
Right.
gonna be seeing the film today. Later
It should
on.
get a Best
Oh,
Picture nom,
nice.
but I just like I don't expect it.
I
If they
think
were
it
fair.
will
Go to
because
the
like,
select
you-
interest,
last
so
last year,
I may
Adam,
do
you
that.
said that Tar was not going to get nominated for a bunch of stuff, but it got nominated for a bunch of stuff. It didn't.
Did I
win.
say that?
Well, you said you didn't expect Tar to get nominated for a bunch of stuff, but then it did. So maybe if you're wrong.
I don't think I spoke as confidently saying like that I think it won't. Maybe I said I was surprised that it did. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't remember what I said, but
I'm predicting like the might. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, go for it.
All right. Well, I guess for some Oscar predictions, I have like I think as much as Poor Things deserves a production design win, I think they're just going to give it to Barbie because it's the most obvious one. Like it's still Barbie had great production
Yeah.
design for
Yeah,
That's a
sure,
good
but-
pick. That's a
Yeah,
good
it
pick.
did.
Yeah,
I think
Barbie
It is
will
a good
win.
pick.
Barbie's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Barbie will win production design and original song. Those are
It
essential.
better.
And
It
maybe
better.
Yeah.
costumes.
Maybe maybe
no,
best actress too.
it didn't get nominated for costume. It
Oh.
didn't even make the short list.
It didn't
for
even make the short
costume.
list. Okay.
Yeah, that was
Production
great.
design and
Real-
original song, then it'll.
Yeah.
whatever it is.
I'm disappointed. I expected a full Barbie sweep.
If Barbie
There was
wins
a
Best
lot of,
Picture, that
like,
would be so funny.
Effort put into the costumes, right? They were trying to make them match real dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
the production design and
Real
costume design in that
dolls?
film is amazing.
Shut up, Adam.
Wow. No respect. All right, so I'm gonna.
You called me a wolf. Fuck off.
Well, you asked me to roast you, and you said not to hold back.
I'm a fox. My
Well, I was
persona's a
roasting you.
fox. Fuck
I was
you.
roasting you.
Fuck
Yeah,
you.
you are.
Fox.
You sure you're on pheasant?
If you're
I,
gonna be a fox, prepare to get hounded.
I think
Ouch.
so.
Mm.
Well, I was roasting you, so whatever.
That's a reference to the title.
I'm gonna wrap
You
things.
What
this
is the
species
flash?
me?
The best
Okay. I said
Well,
how it
sorry.
is.
Jeez. I mean,
No,
yeah.
I like to do some good background.
I thought you were
It's
the
it.
one
They're all
first.
just dumb dogs anyway. It doesn't matter.
Here, I thought you were the one first.
See? I'm gonna wrap things up. So everybody
Oh,
who
God.
wants to ask a
Yeah.
final question or comment, raise your hand and I'll get to you. Otherwise, yeah.
Sure.
Aether Muse, what's up?
Hey guys, this poor chump's gonna be this trying over the weight of being the savior of his people. Wait, this guy's crying. Sorry, this guy's crying about being the savior of his people and being thousands of Budokans. Let's laugh at him crying.
Oh, Wii Pew Wii. That's great. Thank you.
Oh, save. I don't care. He's crying. It's so funny.
We love Abe.
Yeah. Ha 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 ha. What?
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Can I room now? Sorry, my mum.
Sorry.
That's all good. Kiki?
You go last.
Sure. BC 467.
All right, I guess I'll just go with a couple more Oscar predictions that just have in my mind. I think Oppenheimer is guaranteed to get Best Sound Design because it was the loudest film of the year.
Yes.
It's also a Nolan movie.
It's
Yeah.
also
Boppenheimer.
a Nolan movie.
And honestly,
I'm scared it's gonna get editing, but I think that's probably what's likely to happen.
It's gonna get editing.
right?
Yeah,
that's,
It's like
um,
you're
Just
you're
based
going
on-
between so many things, and I notice the editing so much.
Based on
It
the
had a
get the
lot
best
of
editing.
editing of
shots alone.
explosions.
It was the most
don't-
editing.
Editing.
I don't
It's the
even
most
really
explosive
remember
movie.
what the editing of that movie was
Mm.
like.
It was
It
bizarre.
was edited like a
honestly.
trailer.
There
It
was
really
fire
was for
and
most.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
there
yeah.
was a
Really
white light.
definitely
Hey guys,
was.
what are the odds The Flash will win the Oscar for best VFX?
It didn't make the
Zero.
shortlist. It didn't,
It's
it
not
didn't
even
make the
shortlisted.
Yeah,
The
say
Flash
that for
sweep.
Five Nights at
100%.
Freddy's.
It never
100%.
had a chance.
It didn't make the shortlist at all. I think for VFX, like Oppenheimer didn't even get nominated for VFX. But as far as what I want to win, I think Poor Things did make the shortlist, so that's good for VFX.
What if
I
they
haven't even
nominate?
seen
What
the
if they
shortlist
nominate
yet.
Ezra Miller for Best Actor and Actress categories at the same time?
Yes.
yes.
Eventually,
Actually,
eventually,
if
there's
the,
going to be a non-binary actor that's like good enough to be, like in the running, and they're gonna have to figure out what category to put them in.
What if they nominate Nick Cage, but for The Flash?
Maybe. Dream scenario Nick Cage would be an interesting nom, but I don't know if it'll happen
True.
or not.
Sarah
yeah.
didn't make a single shortlist, I think, and then the final prediction I have, and then I'll lower my hand.
I didn't
down.
even look at the shortlist honestly, so I don't even know what's on it.
I think honestly, this is a good year for Disney to not even get
We did
nominated for an. Well,
Thank God.
Yeah, Disney will not get a single award, I think, this year.
I
We
don't.
did like
none-
a highlight of you reading the shortlist once, right? Adam?
Yeah, that wasn't for this year though.
Yeah,
I feel
should we
like-
do like this year?
Well, by the time I have time to do it, the nominations are going to be out.
Alright.
So I don't know if
guess
there's
we'll
much
go
of a
over
point.
the noms then.
I'm sorry.
the
Yeah,
second
well, I
half of
mean, we
January.
plan
Yeah,
on
don't worry
talking.
about
We're
it.
going to
I
talk
get
about the
it.
noms on Sardonicast.
I know you're
Um,
busy. I'm not trying to like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to continue. I think not only do I think Disney's not going to win Best Animated Feature. I honestly just don't want them to get nominated at all.
I
This would
hope-
be a
Yeah,
great-
no.
I hope
but
they
I
don't.
think
That would
they-
be great. We
I
could
think
get
they
like.
still are. Like,
think
I won't
Ellen-
be surprised
Wait.
that Wish gets nominated.
No,
All
wait a
right, so
minute,
we would get like
Last
what?
thing. Oh,
Spider-Man
was-
2.
Yeah.
Boy and the Heron. Leo.
Nimona on Netflix
Yes.
would get nominated.
Possibly
I think
Nimona.
Yeah,
love
Nimona
Leo.
maybe.
Theo's really
Yeah.
funny.
Ninja
And then what's
Turtles,
the-
like
Oh, Ninja Turtles. Yeah, we could do the whole thing
Ninja
without Disney
Turtles,
this year.
yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
don't forget.
That would be
Please.
amazing. I
Wasn't
want
there
that
a
to
model that
happen
every
so
I
anime
want
film
them.
was like
I
one
want them
company
to
each.
exclude
Don't-
Disney and nominate Leo. That would be the biggest slap in the
Don't-
face. That would be so good.
Don't even
That or
nominate
Nimona.
Elementals.
If they put like if they nominated Wish for an Oscar, that would be very
Yeah,
funny.
okay.
it
I
didn't
mean,
get-
Very
I don't
sad
think
at the
that they
same
watched
time.
the animated movies, so anything can happen.
they're gonna give it a
Yes.
Spider-Verse most
Yeah.
likely because it's like the big obvious one. But I just don't want this to get nominated this year because it's like what do they have? Elemental and Wish, and both were Elemental did okay in box office, but nobody saw Wish, and neither of them were that well received. So
And
I
they
honestly
still
think
aren't.
More
I
like
think my-
fish.
my-
And it's
Then
owned by
again,
Disney, so it wouldn't
Onward
possibly
was
be
Onward well
nominated
received
anyways.
because
Yeah,
I remember
yes.
that got nominated.
Onward and Raya were nominated. So
Yeah,
you
Onward
have-
and Raya, like two movies
But
that
then
like
again,
nobody
then
liked.
again, last year they only nominated Turning Red, but they didn't get Lightyear or Strange World any nominations. So this
I
could be a
see.
good year
That's
for
very funny.
That's
Disney.
because
Disney's-
Turning Red was actually a tolerable film.
I apologize.
Really?
I apologize in advance
It's
for this. But I
fine.
just say, I can't get the cab off. I can't get the fucking cab off.
Thank you.
Kill
All
myself.
That's great.
All right, I'm done now. Thanks.
right, thank you.
Many
Meat Boy, what's up?
Yeah,
Cool.
hi. First, like, sorry guys. This time I talked a little bit too much. Apologize for that.
No, you're fine.
No, it's fine.
Don't apologize.
Nope, it's fine.
You're all good.
Just have passion
No, it's
bubbling.
okay.
Yeah. Secondly, I recently I was like talking to a friend about this, Adam. I want you or like everyone else thoughts on this. You talk about music being like very generic and manipulative, like a guy just like, especially with World War Z and then Eagle Eye, you know, the music, you know,
Mhm.
it's like very uninspired.
Mhm.
But what happened like for a movie where like the movie itself, the plot was like really, really boring and bad, but like the music was great. You know, like an example was like the Star Wars prequels. Would you still say the music was manipulative at this rate?
It's all depending on the context of how the music is used and what the
Okay.
score is, right? So generic and manipulative don't necessarily even they can be completely independent. I would say the World War Z sound score was more generic than manipulative. Manipulative is a word that I would use to describe when it's trying to enforce an emotion, particularly one that isn't really communicated without the music, or if it's especially like a part in a film where the music seems like an obligatory piece on a checklist, like cliched, like dying in arms, and then you do the soft like piano notes, and it's like, okay, that's manipulative, right? And generic. So it depends on the context. The Star Wars music in the prequels, I remember some good music in there.
Cool.
The that's effective. Yeah.
So just like last follow up, and I will like I'll
Can you hear me?
shut
Okay.
yeah.
Harmonia, the reason
sorry.
I'm muting you often is because we can hear your nose breathing into the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't
That's okay.
know. Okay, fine.
So
sorry.
you can unmute when you want to talk. That's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Just one last thing very quickly. Would you say like even the best of the movies is quote unquote manipulative to some extent because it's trying to invoke basically what's a different like how would you define like evoking emotion or like
If it's
quote-unquote
unearned, right? Everything is
That's true.
inherently manipulative. Art is inherently manipulative. This conversation is inherently manipulative. Like everything is manipulative to some degree. Any sort of interaction, whether it art or just like communication or anything, right? Art is communication, and communication is inherently manipulative. It's just I use that word to describe things where it feels unearned and insincere, is what I would say.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Love you guys.
Of
Love you
course.
guys.
Thank you. Tate.
Hey, so yeah, I'm trying to think. There were a lot of things that I could have talked about earlier, but I didn't think that there was any like room to really talk about him based on what the conversations were. But anyways, wanted to say, Adam, that normally when I'm watching Sardonicast, I like to watch the movie recommendations to sort of like keep up with the discussions for every new episode. And I'm really glad that even though it was terrible, and this kind of ties in with what you were just talking about with the music. I did end up watching Crash as for the first time as it because like I had always my entire life been curious about like what is really the controversy surrounding this, and you really can't like comprehend it until you see it for yourself. And especially like when you were talking about was it manipulative versus generic sounding music, how it gets used. I think immediately to the scene with Michael Pena and his daughter getting shot. It's one of the funniest things ever. But, I mean, it doesn't make me like him anymore. Like, maybe he acted his heart out and like it all got blotted out by the music and stuff. But I fucking hate Michael Pena as an actor. I hate him so much. Anyways.
Sorry, maybe I should make I'm sorry, maybe I should make a VTuber like thing like with Abe, like you have with your Sona. Or
maybe.
You know, maybe.
And, go for it.
Yeah, I use VideoTube Mini, I think it's called. VeaDotube Mini. MINI.
I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry for interrupting you, T Gibbs. I'm sorry.
It's very, very simple. You just load up the PNGs and you switch them with buttons. Like, this is default, 2 is scared, 3 is laughter, 4 is mad, 5 is cringe, 6 is pog, 7 is crying, 8 is this, 9.
I haven't seen that one used very much.
Which
Those
one?
ones on that one.
Yeah, the kind of evil looking one.
Yeah.
I use it more on stream than anything else.
That one I haven't seen as much either.
I'm sorry, I have to go. That's okay. I'll see you next year. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Tate, what were you saying before?
I was gonna say as well, like, so that entire movie was hilariously bad, but because of the Sandra Bullock connection, and because I've been watching back on a couple other Netflix movies and stuff she's been in, it's really made me just kind of like really wonder about like how I think of her as an actress.
She's bad.
over over the years and stuff that I've seen her. And so, but after seeing Crash, what it makes me want to do now is it kind of makes me want to rewatch it and then watch like The Blind Side back to back and see like which one is the more racist movie.
I mean, retrospectively, they're both terrible.
Well, yeah, but because I remember loving The Blind Side as a kid, but I also grew up in a sort of environment where it's like, oh, everybody is gonna love that movie.
My
The
grandma
very true
loves
story
The
of The
Blind
Blind Side.
It's a really good pat on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I should probably just rewatch. There's like a 4-hour video essay of, I can't remember who did it, but they made like a 4-hour video essay of like how shitty The Blind Side is, and it's pretty
It's
awesome.
terrible.
I'd recommend it.
It's awful. I've always thought it was shit.
And now everyone hates it because it's an inaccurate story because the guy sued the family or something.
Yeah.
It was basically just like purely a story made for white people.
Yeah, it's the white savior.
My grandma
story.
like fucking loves that film.
It's
and
made
I always...
for the right-wing people.
It's made for it. I don't know if it's. I don't even know if it's necessarily made for right wing people. I think it's just made for well-meaning but like ignorant old people.
Sort
old
of,
white
but like
people.
also Tommy Tuberville has
racism
a
is
cameo in
like.
it, and now he's like a fucking crazy. I think he's the senator or governor of Alabama now.
Who?
But he was Tommy Tuberville. He was a college football coach for many years, but now he's like a MAGA Republican who is like the governor or senator of Alabama
Yeah,
now.
of course he is.
I'll be back in like 2 seconds. I just need to get another beverage real quick.
Tuberville was the guy who like blocked a bunch of military shit in the Senate because of abortion stuff, because he's like very like hard right on like abortion rights and something. But I mean, I think he eventually lifted up, but that's just because like a lot of people hate it. I don't know.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
All
that's pretty much all I had to say.
Okay, thank you so much.
Who's next can take the floor.
Rishi,
Adam,
hello.
There is one question that all of us in this group chat and your viewers and everyone who is watching this hangout have one question for you, Adam.
I'm ready.
When are you going to tear apart Wish?
I don't know if I'm ever gonna watch it.
I've been waiting for this one review.
Here's what I like. If it gets nominated for Best Animated Feature, then I might start watching it and then skim through it and then cause another controversy when I rate it on IMDb. That's how I feel like things are gonna go.
Say, Adam, you may say
A good
wish.
Don't make movies
Adam, rating Wish a bad rating indicates that he once again doesn't understand the principles of animation.
Well, there's 12 of them, and I only got to 2, and then I skipped through it and rated it on IMDb.
Maybe there is a 13th one that you didn't know, Adam. There's a 13th one.
Uh-oh. A 13th principle of animation.
SpaghettiOs.
The 13th one is dolphin noises.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't feel very passionately about Wish, having not seen it, but also just seems like an uninteresting kind of thing. Seems like it might be more boring than infuriating.
Yeah.
Well, based on the reviews and the reception of it, it's easily not only one of the worst films of this year by all time of this year, but easily one of Disney's lowest rated animated films in a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking, honestly.
The last time they had
It's basically pushed behind Pocahontas, if you could believe it. And that was like 30 years ago.
Chicken Little, I think, is their lowest rated one, and that was like 2005. Every other movie I saw from Chicken Little to Wish, every movie in between had like a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Chicken Little and Wish are the only recent movies that got Rotten ratings that are on Disney. And maybe Cars 2. I forgot about Cars 2, but that's Pixar.
All right.
Anyways.
Yeah, so we're just wrapping things up, Rishi. I know you just got here, sorry. So if you had any other like final questions or comments, I'll let you.
No.
Okay.
Adam, just this one question for you, then I'll probably get out of here real quick. you have stated in multiple horror movie reviews that you don't like jump scares because they are obvious and manipulative.
When they are
However-
obvious and manipulative.
However, what is one jump scare in a film that really, really affected you and wasn't just used for manipulation?
There is one jump scare in the movie Nocturnal Animals that I was genuinely caught off guard by, and I thought worked really well.
I
I
see.
do remember you thinking the jump scare in 28 Days Later was very effective. at the
Yeah,
time you
it's also
watched it.
just like how they how the audio is used, because it, like, even in 28 Days Later, it's not even a jump scare. I wouldn't even consider it to be a jump. It's just like a
Yeah, the
quick
point of view
transition into
shots.
action.
Yeah,
Really.
more of a
the way
punt
the point of
scare.
view shots is
Yeah.
the way the point of view shots where they're running where
The scare starts during the period of silence. So I don't even know if I would call that a jump scare. Jump scare, I think, implies that the sound itself is what's supposed to startle you in that period, which is not what happens in 28 Days Later.
What makes it startling is the way the point of view shot runs towards the window.
Yeah, it's
is what
terrifying.
made it very scary.
Yeah, it's what's shown that makes it effective, not the
Yeah.
not the non-diegetic weird movie sounds they add to it after the fact. Which is
it's
those are what I
audible,
hate.
it's visual, and it's contextual.
Yep. So Kiki wanted to go last. I just want to see if was there
Well,
anybody
Adam,
else that
I
had
better
any.
get going then.
Sure, have a good
Sorry, I
have a
would
good one,
like to say
Rishi.
Bye,
something,
Rishi.
if
Bye,
that's
Rishi.
okay.
Later, Rishi.
Yeah,
Hi, Rishi.
Harmonia. Harmonia,
Thank
what's
you.
up?
Yes, sorry.
Of course, no worries.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel? I've always wanted to ask. How do you feel that you actually got Charlie Kaufman himself to actually comment on your Synecdoche New York review? Because I recently watched it, and yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I love the message. You know, that the end is worked into the beginning, and just the fact that he was able to comment on it. You know, must have been very gratifying, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's obviously very comforting to know that there's an artist that I connect with that, at least from what I can tell, has connected with something that I've made, even if it's a commentary on what he's made and it's just an extension of what he's made. It's good to know that he's at least appreciated my connection and we've sort of shared that thing. It's also a nice thing to think about if, you know, if I ever start feeling like I have imposter syndrome, and, you know, there's a huge amount of people that just hate my shit and just think that I'm like the worst thing to happen to talking about movies or something. And then I remember like, oh
Those
no,
people
I
are
actually
fucking weird.
Yeah,
like,
they're weird.
I don't misunderstand everything. At the very least, there's, you know, a handful of actual artists that I respect that have flat out said publicly and told me that, you know, I understand their work, you know, better than anyone else has. You know, Jay from
Yeah.
Nirvana, the band The Show, said that my
Yeah.
video was like
Yeah.
the perfect way to, you know, so
There's
it's
also the
it's
fact
happened a few
that-
times, and I'm glad that it's happened with artists that I respect.
Yeah.
And it shows that
think-
there's a
yeah.
connection there. And, you know, I don't get every movie. I don't get every, you know, I'm not supposed to get every movie. I'm supposed to get the ones that I connect with, right? So at the end of the
There's
day,
also the
that's
fact
cool.
that there's filmmakers and film festivals out there that really respect you for having a wide-reaching audience, and you basically putting a word of mouth to help generate a bit of buzz for their films and their festivals, thus creating a bit of revenue,
yeah.
but also awareness of like the presence of like these particular films and festivals, and you have a big audience to really help engage to get them to check them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's important that smaller films are. I think it's just that you ranked it. Yeah, it's your second favorite film of all time after The Holy Mountain, right?
They're neck and neck. I don't know. I
I
need
saw
to-
Holy Mountain in 35 millimeter.
I
That
need
was
to.
cool.
I'll see if what happens if I watch the Holy Mountain on acid or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it's just Synecdoche, New York. Yeah, I'll admit it is very slow moving and it is unbelievably depressing. And I think a lot of people thought it was.
It's not either of
okay.
those things to me.
I don't know. I
At
guess
this
maybe
point.
honestly, yeah, interesting.
I still really have to watch that film, Synecdoche. I really want to watch it with Dad because I think that would be he's into these kind of films where there's a real sort of like conversation to be had, especially something with a very engaging sort of story and structure and character study, which I
Yeah.
think Synecdoche will have.
I think the issue with it is that I find it depressing only, but I think is that it just the horror of just existing in of itself
Yeah.
or whatever, and the fact that the biggest message is time, I'd say, in the film, and the fact that time just kind of like will go by your life, without even acknowledging it. Is in towards the film. He says it is 5 minutes, it is 10 minutes, 15. You spend half of your life not alive, and not dead, never really knowing, and you wait for some sort of meaning, but it never comes. I don't know. It's yeah.
The title means a lot. Infectious diseases in cattle. You'll see.
I guess so.
You'll see.
There is one final thing I'll say. A bit of an unpopular movie opinion. I gotta say I'm sorry, but I really wanted to like Whiplash a lot more than I did, but I just found it too frustrating. You know the way you feel with Ready Player One, Adam, about how you just think the film completely ignores any logic? I think Whiplash does that. I'm sorry. There's no way that a teacher could literally bully a student to death and not have some sort of legal repercussions. And the fact that he openly calls his students homophobic slurs and shit, and that our main character Neiman nearly dies. I don't know why he's not technically on death row. I know, like, there's honestly so many parts of the film I just wanted to scream at him, and I don't understand why Neiman wants to fucking work for this evil bastard. Is there nowhere in all of New York that he could go to? Like, if this is the consequence of working for the best, I wouldn't want to do it. He's a fantastic drummer in his own right. There's no fucking way I would work for this complete monster. And honestly, I find Old Boy a less depressing and frustrating film because the film doesn't act like Lee Woo-jin is a good guy. Lee Woo-jin is clearly a fucked up, evil arsehole. But by the end, near the end of the film, the whole film acts like this is the way we should treat our students. They should nearly die. And by near the end, it's just like, no, there is no better, more damaging words than good job. I'm like, yeah, there's cool being harsh, and then there's being an arsehole.
I don't know if I agree that the film is taking that position. I think that it's showing that position.
It pretty explicitly depicts Fletcher as like a fucking bad person.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it depends on like that. I think that's up to whoever watches it to interpret really like what they get out of it.
The reason we get enjoyment out of Fletcher's insults is because we're not the ones getting screamed at.
Yeah, and yeah, like it is. You're right that it is like it's not realistic in every way. There's tons about it that's not realistic, and I don't know.
It does posit it as it's sort of a positive thing because Fletcher kind of gets away with it, and it's encouraged that he does become a better. I won't spoil it or whatever, but by the end of the film, you don't feel like happy at all, and Fletcher just kind of like that's the way you should act. I wish the film had focused on the fact that opening Fletcher up that yes, it's important to be harsh, but he could have like maybe not become softer, but just learned to accept that okay, I went too far. But by the whole way, he doesn't feel bad at all. I think he probably feels good. Like I think the person he killed, I don't know who it was in the film, but someone basically dies as a result of suicide because how cruel he was. And I'm like, he thinks he's a pussy. Probably that's ridiculous.
I would also really quickly just like to say that at the time, which I think was like early mid 2010s when the movie version of it came out, would not have been very surprising at all for somebody to just be like
2014
openly homophobic like at that time, even if it was like an instructor towards students. Sure, times have changed, but like
and also
mid-2010s United States.
If I am to
absolutely, that wouldn't be very uncommon at all.
At its most charitable, I could imagine like okay, we're supposed to believe that like even despite all of these like crazy things he's doing, he gets away with it because of his like high regard or like his status or whatever, right? Like he's just so well revered within the industry. Like everybody needs to know, like they got to work with him, right? There's like directors throughout history, maybe not as many today, but like throughout history, you know, there's been famous directors that have been like torturous to work with. I guess even like more currently, like David Fincher, maybe not like as maliciously abusive, but like, you know, the like doing a million takes, and some people just like won't work with him because of it, and some people think he's a genius because of it, or blah 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 blah. Like the repetition and just like keep doing the same thing 100,000 times, like Kubrick or whatever.
Yeah.
So like depending on how much of like a notoriety you've made for yourself and how much of like an impact you've made on the industry, people are willing to let you get away with a bit more.
I think it's the same thing with like Alfred Hitchcock as well, in terms of how he worked with these actors.
Yeah, so Hitchcock and fucking I already said his name, Kubrick. Yeah, like they were. There's some stories about them being abusive. Anyway, I don't think that the movie explicitly condones the Fletcher character. I don't think it explicitly gives us as the audience an idea of how we're supposed to feel about whether or not his actions were justified. I think that it shows us two very damaged characters, especially by the end of the movie, two very flawed characters. And I think it's up to the audience to decide whether or not it's worth it for them, or whether or not it was worth it for the character, or what type of, or what exactly they'll get out of it. I think it's a little bit more interpretable. I don't think it's making any explicit moral statements.
It's one of those where it's kind of like you could kind of get more, or you kind of have a better understanding of like who different people are by the way that they react to that movie, almost, especially in the ways that like they see how Terrence Fletcher exercises his authority. But like I remember when it had just come out in high school, or I was in high school, and it was very popular amongst me and all of our friends. And we had this one friend in our group who did a lot of she practiced and played a lot of instruments. She was in band. She did a lot of stuff personally. She had a family who helped like guide her through it, and like we kept recommending it to her, but I think like she took one look at like what it was about, and she just flat out refused to see it. Just like because I think it conjured up some ideas in her head of what it's about, and I'm like, when I was watching it at the time, of course, because there was just like the one way I viewed it. It was kind of hard to see, but now like sort of thinking back and like, oh, you're not. It's pretty like giving you a lot of room to work with, and different people are going to see different things in them. Where I'm like, oh, it must have been like horrifying for us to be constantly like almost begging her to see it.
All right, so I gotta wrap this up because I gotta go.
Sure.
Levi Turner gave a super chat. Just gonna read that. Best picture predictions: Oppie, Poor Things, Killers, Barbie, Holdovers, Past Lives, Maestro, Anatomy, Zone, and American Fiction. This is it for sure. Well, we'll see. And then Grum, did you do a final question comment thing already, or because your hands up?
I haven't done a final question
Okay.
yet. My
Go for
final
it.
question is your possible update on your Lion King Part 2 review. Is a possible 2024 or 2025?
No comment. Release? Zero comments. No expectations. I'm not stupid. Sorry.
Although there is the Lion King prequel next year, so Badham has to watch that eventually.
Oh yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I'm looking forward to the reaction, but not
yeah,
the
I'm
fact
trying
that
to like
happening.
I'm trying to get back to, well, what I would have been doing this entire past 2 months was getting a really good dent in my Synecdoche series. But I had to move instead, and it took me like fucking a month and a half, a lot of fucking money, a lot of fucking time, a lot of energy, and just
a lot of expenses.
Destroyed me. And I wasn't able to do that, and now I'm looking at trying to do that, I guess January, February, we'll see. But I'm also trying to, I'm gonna have to like watch the Oscar things. Sorry.
I'm sorry. How far into the film did you get with the last part? I think you were about halfway through or something.
Depends on how you define it.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, if it means
yeah.
trying to save your hand, it's alright. We have to wait a little longer just to wait for part 2.
Yeah.
I don't know.
guys,
But I
I'm
like
gonna-
there's other
I'm sorry.
things that I have needed to catch up on that are that people have been waiting longer for. So my yearly lists in the Synecdoche series, and it would feel wrong to go right back into The Lion King Part 2 as soon as I get free time rather than doing one of those. Unfortunately, all of my shit this past year has been very overloaded. My brother's wedding and moving and, just way too many life things at once.
Yeah.
And I just
the moving must have been really hectic.
It sucked.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I feel you on that one. I'm in the middle
just
of a
very
moving
quickly,
myself,
I'm
and I feel
leaving,
you.
I'm leaving right now, but
Sure.
Bye,
keep up
meat
the great
boy.
work, Adam.
Thank
Keep
you.
up the great work, Olivia. I love
Later,
you
meat
guys.
boy. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Next year.
Yes, appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you guys
absolutely.
were amazing. Keep up the great work. Happy New Year. I'm looking
Happy New
forward
Year.
to seeing you
Peace.
guys. All right. Peace,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
See you next hangout.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All
Bye-bye.
right. All right, Kiki, go for it.
Yeah, yeah, that was a lot of really great discussion. Got me thinking about Synecdoche again after God knows how long, and I think I need a glass of wine after this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess I just also thought I'd chime in with some Oscar thoughts on this and that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there are certain movies this year where it's like, if it swept, I wouldn't be upset. Like, that for me is the zone of interest that I found.
It could win Best Picture. You never know.
Yeah, I've seen the movie 3 times now, and it just gets more and more powerful for me each time. And it's one of those really rare genre-defining movies for me, where especially like with war films in general, which is literally the oldest narrative genre in film as far as I know. And just bringing into question everything we know about it. Like, I'll try not to say too much, but yeah, it's just, to me, this film, like, it's so inconceivably perfect in its execution that
it's really
almost
great.
feels, it almost feels like its technical perfection is secondary to what it's trying to say. Like, yeah, it's I guess on the Oscar side of things, like, the thing I want it to win the most, other than Best Picture, obviously, is Sandra Hüller for Best Actress.
Hüller.
Hüller. Yeah.
Hüller.
Yeah, it's like
she could get nominated for like 2 movies at once. That would be kind of fun.
Yeah, like
she should get Best Actress nomination in 2 slots.
Yes, I agree.
Nice.
Does she would she be nominated for act? Does she have the most screen time for a female role in that one? Zone.
Honestly,
she could be in a supporting for that one, and then a actress for
like, I
anatomy.
honestly think that. Yeah, sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah, and then I definitely think Best Actress is probably going to be the tightest competition this year. But I'm
who else?
Like, let's see.
Emma Stone.
Honestly, yeah,
could be
Emma
one.
Stone.
Emma
Stone's already won Best Picture, so she's not.
Yeah, it's gonna go. It's gonna go to Lily Gladstone. It will.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
damn it.
She was really good, so I wouldn't be upset. I suppose
she was good. She wasn't as good as Sandra.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But it's obviously it's obviously going to happen. It's like that's the most obvious win.
And then we have Greta Lee for Past Lives. That was incredible. Yeah,
maybe
that would be a nice thing to throw in there. Emily Blunt's probably going to get nominated for Oppenheimer.
Maybe.
Not Florence Pugh because she has sex in that movie and they think sex is icky.
Florence P.U.
Killian
Yeah,
Murphy will
it's
get
like-
Killian Murphy will get Best Actor. I think that's a
Yeah, he will.
guarantee.
He will.
Which is
Yeah.
cool. Has he been nominated
yeah.
before?
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Zone of Interest
He's
for
gotta get a
sound
nom.
design for sure. Like
wanna
that's
s- I
one that
wanna s-
it
I
has
wanna
to.
s-
It has to.
I think they're gonna give it
Sorry.
to Oppenheimer, honestly, just because Oppenheimer
Yeah, they
was the
will.
loudest.
There's a
film.
history. There's a
Biased
history.
and also Nolan movie.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just it's interesting because I know that the Academy has biases towards war dramas. So if they don't
And biopics.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes.
If
They also
don't yeah, sorry.
They also don't. They hardly watch the films they nominate anyway. So
Yeah, they
there's
don't.
that.
They don't. Yeah, honestly, Adam, if anyone gives you shit for not watching all the nominees, show them some of the leaked comments from Academy voters, and
They're not gonna. There's no showing them anything because they're not gonna listen, and it's pointless.
Yeah,
There's no such thing as showing them. They don't care.
Also, it's Twitter.
Yeah,
Wow,
it doesn't
enough.
matter.
Yeah, that's true. And then, yeah, I guess for
What I've been doing is when I get the urge to talk about a movie that I haven't finished, I just put that in the uncensored version,
Oh,
which
okay,
Twitter
that's a good
people are
call.
obviously
That's a
not
good call.
watching. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then what was I gonna say? Yeah, sound design definitely zone of interest. Cinematography, I'd give to either zone of interest or Poor Things.
It's gonna go to Oppenheimer.
I think
most
Zone's
likely.
gonna win
Yeah,
for
it's good.
cinematography.
I don't know.
Zone's gonna get it.
I don't know.
I just think Oppenheimer's gonna get like a bunch of tech noms just because like it's a Nolan film and they always give Nolan films the techie awards. Like they gave Dunkirk and Tenet a bunch of techie awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he made a very big deal about the 70mm thing, so I
did.
You think
I think he
that
still
Oppenheimer's
does.
gonna get cinematography?
Probably. Probably.
Eh. I think
But
Zone's
yeah,
got
it's
it.
like, yeah, I gotta say for Poor Things, I don't think this counts as a spoiler, but I gotta give it to Yorgos for finally figuring out how to properly implement the fish legs.
Yeah, make the whole movie feel like you're drunk.
Yeah, and then
Or at the very least, it's orienting.
Yeah, but it's a consistent visual style.
Yeah, and then it's just visual effects is a tough one for me. I guess Poor Things, but I think it should definitely go to Hundreds of Beavers.
They didn't make the short list, unfortunately. They didn't make the short list for visual effects. I think honestly they might get. Yeah, that would be awesome if it got it, but it'd be I don't know. I think Across the Spider-Verse made the short list for visual effects, and that would
Right.
be an awesome.
Yeah, it did. I'd give it to that.
Okay. Sure.
And yeah, it's just this has been
On
a very
Yeah.
sorry.
I think on a visual scale, Across the Spider-Verse has been absolutely amazing. Like outside of it being like an animated film, it's just one of the most along with Barbie, it's the biggest highlight for like visual effects for me. I will get very angry if like The Flash wins like an Oscar or even be nominated because fuck that film.
Yeah.
Just fuck it.
Well,
The Flash will get some Razzies.
Oh,
No,
Wait, he's Batman?
Well, wait, he's Batman?
Wait, he's
I'm not gonna do
Dogman?
it. I'm too tired.
Yeah, I
Next
guess
time.
to wrap it up, I'd like to give a music recommendation of the band of all time. They're my favorite for sure. I'd like to recommend the Poop Shitters.
The Poop Shitters.
The Poop.
It's real.
Yeah, the Poop Shitters are the greatest band of all time.
All right.
Hang
it's
on.
Sands.
They're no, that's not Sands. It's Poop Shitters 1 through 5.
Okay.
And yeah, I definitely say their undisputed masterpiece is Album 1, Song 1.
Okay. I see.
Yeah, it's just that song cured my eczema. I'm just gonna say that right then and there. It's plagued me my entire life, and the poop shitters alone
Thank
have
you.
freed me. So yeah,
I will listen. I will listen.
Listen to them and buy their merch.
Damn. Excuse me.
I suppose I
Okay,
would.
That's a
I
good
suppose
note to
I'll
leave
give
the year off on.
I'll give one quick recommendation, considering Adam is a fan of Death Grips. They're not in the same sort of genre, but Godflesh is a really good band to check out. Us and Them from 1999 would probably come close to having the nearest sonic experience of Death Grips. It's a really good album. Check it out.
I will check it out eventually.
And the ILYs, if
Okay.
anybody doesn't know about them, is just Zach and Andy from Death Grips, minus the ride, which you would originally think, well, what's the fucking point of that? No, they're pretty great.
All right, I gotta go.
right.
Thanks for
See
hanging
you
out,
later.
everybody.
Later, Adam.
I will
See
be
ya.
doing a
Happy New
quickie
Year,
catch
Adam.
up
Happy New
stream
Year,
at some
everyone.
point. I don't know when.
Cool.
Yeah, not today. I don't know if it's like, honestly, I don't know if it's gonna be before the end of the year. Maybe I'll try doing it like I'll just wake up at a good time on Sunday and try to do it like for the 31st.
I have work
and,
on
like,
Sunday, so
Yeah,
do a
of
little bit of
course.
like quickie catch up, then do a little bit of Sunday stream, and then leave to like a party or something. We'll see if I can fit all that in, but it'll happen at some point. Hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, I'll be able
all
to
right.
catch up on the
I'll
other
see you
stuff.
next year, Adam.
Thank you
thanks
so
for-
much.
it
Peace
was a
out.
great
Thank you
year
for your
everyone.
support, everybody.
Bye
Take care.
bye.
You,
Thank you.
BC.
Bye bye.